Hello and welcome to another episode of Podcast 572. I am your host, as always, Kyle, joined by my two friends, Dan and Matt. We're going to kick off, as we always do, talking about the games we've been playing. I will kick it off by first saying I've played zero Avowed in the last 2 weeks. I realized that we said I put it on here just to make a point of like I haven't played any Avowed, and I need to go back to it, which is going to be difficult because this next week that Adamfall game comes out, and I don't know if you saw it, that got pretty decent reviews.
Been reading reviews, it's probably
it's
exactly
not like
what I thought.
Horribly lengthy, so I think it's like about 25 hours. So I'll probably check that out this week.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass, and it got like 8 out of 10 from like everything I read.
Yeah,
so
it seems like it's a pretty solid game.
Yeah, and I think that game looks cool too because it's not really like a Fallout game. It's more of like
an
investigative, like
detective
style game. Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
So I have some other like odds and ends things. I mean, obviously behind the scenes we've been playing a little more Godfall, but the other thing that we started, and I'll leave that for the end because you and I both played it, so we can lead into that at the end. But I've been on the kick for a little bit that it's been a long time since I played a modern hockey game. So I saw it was $20, so I dived into NHL 25. I have not played, and keep in mind the last hockey game that I sat down and played is NHL 2K9.
Whoa!
So you
didn't even play the NHL like EA ones when they were good.
No.
Wow.
For me, it was Blades of Steel.
There you go.
Jesus.
So I was just like, you know what? It's $20. I'm in the mood to play a hockey game. I'm gonna pick this up. I do not like how they like the modern controls. I am just struggling with it.
It's kind of crazy.
It's
like,
kind of
I
crazy.
played 24.
Okay,
so I get it.
I have not won a single face-off in like the 8 games I've played because of that. I've scored some goals like somehow by like magic. I've scored goals in the game. I've even tried to go in like the training mode, but that's not very helpful either, I've found. So like I don't know. It's fine. Like it looks good, but I don't like how it controls, and there's no option to do like I think they did in last year's version, because wasn't that where they had the throwback to like NHL 94? They had like an NHL 94 controls. They don't even have that.
Maybe
here.
I think that was last year. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't even have that here. It's like there's like a hybrid control screen, which is the one that I am using, or you do everything with the stick, and I do not like that. So
those games really should just come with like a Axis Pass.
That's what I want, and like you can do that, and that's what I'm doing, but it doesn't register very well, and that's my problem with it. Like if I want to pass the puck to somebody, it seems way more difficult than it should be. So I don't know if there's like a hit detection problem with the game.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I've been disappointed. So in keeping with the spirit of just looking at the PlayStation Store and releases, this is an odd one that I remember seeing something like 6 months ago. So I don't know if you've ever heard of an old Commodore 64 game called Beyond the Ice Palace. There's a sequel.
I've heard of it, but
30-some years later, there's a sequel. It's just Castlevania, straight up. I would say this is very much just like a very, very good version of Castlevania 4 for Super Nintendo with some really rad music. It's really good. Like I played quite a bit of it. But it is again, I didn't play the original one because it's a Commodore 64 game, so I didn't have a Commodore 64. But I like what this game's going for. It's very like you have a whip chain, just like a Belmont would, and it's very much just laid out like a old school Castlevania, not like it's not a Metroidvania. So, and it has like an upgrade system and everything. The graphics look great. It's that like good, nice like mix of 16-bit. So. A very cool game. Like I said, I think it's going to be a tough sell for a lot of people because it is technically a sequel, but I haven't found anything. give you the gist of what the story is at the very beginning. So just a very cool thing. I remember seeing like 6 months ago, and I saw it was out, and I was like, all right, I should probably dive into that. In the mood and the spirit of Metroidvania games, a Metroidvania I played way back when on the Switch that I have not played since, and it's on the current PlayStation Network sale for like $7 bucks. Probably one of the best movie games based on a terrible movie, The Mummy Demastered.
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever seen the 2017 Mummy movie. It's terrible.
I'm trying to
one
think
of the
of
few
another
Tom
example.
Cruise mistakes.
Yeah.
This is a game. I'm trying to think of the name of that company. You would know it. It's very famous. That to make this style of game.
Way Forward?
Way Forward. Okay.
Okay.
So it's made by Way Forward. It totally runs with a plot line of that movie. Like you are working for Paradigm, which is the like company that. Okay.
Hang on. Pause. Is it called Paradigm or is it Paradigm and you're saying it wrong?
Is it Paradigm? Is that how you say it? Okay.
Yes, the word is paradigm.
I swear they called it Paradigm in the movie, but it's also been almost 10 years since I've seen that.
No,
movie. Okay. I'm bad at pronouncing things.
No, you are. You're famous for that. And I just kind of accept it.
It could be called Paradigm, but I swear they called it Paradigm.
I would not put it past the movie to call it Paradigm just to be
I feel like that's how Russell Crowe calls it. It's his company.
Oh, well.
Because remember, the whole point of the Dark Universe. Card as it is. Remember, the whole point of the Dark Universe is he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Right.
And he runs that company, and his whole company is searching for different artifacts that relate to the different monsters, like Dracula.
Okay. And I feel like Paradigm is
that's back on the table. Yeah.
I feel like that's what he called it in that movie. So
okay.
But that's his little like secret company, and so you play as like a super soldier from that company, and you are fighting the mummy in like a pyramid. But it's all Metroidvania.
Where else would you fight them?
It works really well. Tom Cruise is not in the game. Like, there's no Tom Cruise likeness, nothing. But there is Russell Crowe likeness because that's who speaks to you like through text.
That's interesting.
It is a really good Metroidvania game. Like, really good. Like, if your character dies, they become like a zombie in the game as you play another nameless soldier. So, like, you can meet up with your character's body to regain, like, some of your
so it's like Zombie U.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
okay.
It's a really good Metroidvania game that I remember at the time when it came out, it was one of those, like, are you sure? Because, like, all the reviews for that game came out, and that I dived in and played on the Switch. So I've never played it on any of these consoles.
I want to say it was a limited run game, too, and I thought about it.
I feel like they made a limited run of it.
I think Way Forward does a bunch of stuff.
They have a contract with Way Forward, so. And then the last thing before I can talk about the thing that we both have played, and we'll lead into your stuff. And I will preface by saying I have not played this. I have watched a lot of it this week. But my girlfriend is very much into that Fate game we've talked about in the past. The remaster of it has come out, Fate Reawakened, and it has all 4 of the games. It's like. I think it's normally $25. It's on sale for $20 right now, and it's like launch week. So I've watched a lot of this being played, and what I can say, as I've seen a lot of Fate played in the last year, like through the Steam Deck with a keyboard and mouse, is they did an admirable job of like moving it to controller. Like it's not like trying to play the game with like wonky controller support on the Steam. You know, where you can download like a profile of like, hey, I made controls for this game, but it doesn't really work. It's not like that. Like they actually took the time to make the controls and make it work. But even with all that being said, my girlfriend is just like, I'd rather have a keyboard and mouse for this game. But she's playing with a controller. So there's weird things about like they do the thing that you would see in like if you're playing an RTS on a console where they hide things through radial menus, and that can get kind of cumbersome. So it looks way better visually, though. I'll say that. Like, as someone who's seen a lot of that, like, really poorly, it has like a really poor resolution, the original version. So seeing it remastered to 4K, it looks very good. So I will play it at some point. We need to have like a down period again, because now we're now on the cusp of like some stuff coming out, like this Adamfall game. You have baseball. Right. Next month is that Claire Obscure game. Is out like middle of the month, so we got the DOA game.
DOA should ship next week.
We should maybe be able to talk about that next time. I feel like we might be able to.
Close. I don't remember how good this company shipping is. So,
but we can overlap and talk about the other thing that we started. So you and I have both played a chunk of Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 finally.
Yeah.
Which
we
is
played like the first two missions,
but
they're
guess,
pretty lengthy.
I think what were we saying? There's only 6, like,
I think there's like 6,
but they're long. They're like probably each an hour or over an hour long. Because the one mission felt like it, not in a bad way, but it felt like it just kept going. Where it was like, okay,
for sure. And
we're gonna blow up this wall, and then it's still going. But like,
I never quite know what exactly we're doing either, other than just like killing hundreds of things.
Part of it is you and I have no experience with the world or the lore of Warhammer.
Yeah,
and the friend that we're playing with, who used to be on the podcast, Eric, is a massive Warhammer fan in comparison.
Right.
So he at least can explain some things of like, oh, this is this enemy type or this character type, and he's related to the Emperor for this or something.
Or like, who is this guy? What does this guy do?
Yeah.
What's up with the priest guy?
Which, like, I think all of it is fascinating.
Oh, it's crazy as hell. Yeah.
Like,
it's cool that he knows it and can
into
explain to me.
Yeah, and I'm super into it. It's a good, like, I feel like it's a good gateway to get into that universe. Whereas it's, like I said, it's something I remember in high school kids that played it, you know, then they would have the mask, but I never got into it.
A friend of mine paints the figures and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah,
like, I know.
I never had
about
anything against it. Just was one of those things like, man, I have my hobbies.
It's just too much.
I have to give something up if I want to get in that, because I mean, that goes deep. You're building boards with maps and shit like that. That's a lot of space and a lot of time. So I fully 100% respect it. But this is a good gateway to get into that universe if you never have. And like, it is a sequel to the first game, but I don't really feel like anything is lost on me. But we also had Eric to explain a little bit of the backstory of this character. Yeah. So I've played a little bit of the original game. So, but not.
I never played it
on Steam, but not. I never beat it. So I started playing a little bit of it when this one came out, and then I didn't go back. The game, and I will say, this is the first. We finally done it. This is the first game that I've played that looks really good on a PS5 Pro. So
it looks really good on my system too.
I don't know. Did you? And that's what I wanted to ask is, like, any of those scenes where you encounter like a ton of those enemies running around, was there any frame rate issues for you in your end?
No, I never really had any kind of problems. Like, the game moves slow on purpose just because the guys move slow. But
I think it feels
I never
good.
felt. Yeah, it feels. We were talking about what we were playing. Like, it feels really heavy.
Yeah, in the right way.
The shooting and the walking and everything. Like, it feels good, but it feels good.
Yeah, like, it feels good, and it feels right considering like the bulk of those characters you're playing as. Like,
I told you while we were playing
heavy.
This is the best Gears of War game I've played in a decade.
It is, like, I can agree. Like,
it's a Gears of War game.
They take a lot from Gears of War, and it really does feel like that, but in a very good way. So
yeah, like, I have. If you're a Gears of War person and you haven't had an Xbox in a long time, and you only have PlayStation and you miss it, this is it.
Like, and it has, we have that other mode we haven't even explored yet. That's like the expeditions.
A whole thing beyond what operations. There's like 6 more missions to do.
Yeah,
that's like the bulk of the game, where it's like fairly randomized, and yes, you can actually have like a class and level up a character and all that kind of stuff. So we barely even scratched it. Then there's even like multiplayer, which I'm not necessarily looking forward to, but it's got to be done for the platinum. So we're doing it.
But it's I've enjoyed what we played. We're gonna play more
really
of this next week. So
my favorite thing about it is, like a Gears of War game, like, it's insanely, like, brutally violent. Like, the execution stuff is crazy.
It is really violent.
They spent time making like multiple execution styles for each enemy with each weapon, so it's not just the same animation every single time.
There's a lot of a variety to that when you use
like the gameplay mechanics are pretty good.
Because I think it's like you press in the right thumbstick, but you're not like flicking it a different way or anything like that.
No.
So it's just, it does different animations, but they all look really good, and it's very bloody.
Yeah.
So it's
really good.
Really cool game. And
we just got to the part where I think the next mission introduces like the new enemy type.
They're talking about like the chaos stuff.
Yeah.
So, which we haven't. They talked about, we haven't seen it yet. So that'll be the next time that we play. But highly recommended thus far. So I should briefly say the only other thing I did play, but I played a lot of this last 2 weeks, is obviously Tony Hawk 3 and 4 got announced. I played a lot of Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Oh, of course.
Just I've gone back to it and just like cleaning up some of that stuff. that I never did in the PS5 version because I think I originally played it on the Xbox. Played a lot of that in the last 2 weeks, like, and just ready for Tony Hawk. So, but I'll kick it over to you, Dan.
All right, so other than Warhammer, the thing I played obviously the most of is just more Monster Hunter Wilds. Like, that game continues to be very, very good and just fun. And when you finally get the multiplayer working properly, like we did the last time we played, it's enjoyable. Before that, it's hit or miss. We have one person in our group. We have a group of 4. We have one person specifically where his game seems to just fuck up constantly. And it fucks up in different ways where, like, you join a mission, but he doesn't join. Or his mission starts, but it doesn't send out an invite for us to join. Or the one time he decided, well, I'll just fight this monster on my own.
It sounds like a 360 era problem.
It does. Like, I wanted to tell him to check his. I was like, all right, maybe we should start checking NAS and see what's going on. But he fought one monster for like an hour, and by the end of it, it wouldn't damage him. It wouldn't. He couldn't damage it, and he was just kind of like locked. We're like, I think you have to dash the game and like come back.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks because it takes a while to sometimes get this stuff set up.
It does.
Let alone like get in and do the preparations and get to the monster and find the monster and everything the way it works. So last time we played, it seemed to work pretty well. The only thing is we finally got to the first monster I would consider to be, I don't even remember his name because we haven't beaten him yet, but he has like a party wipe mechanic. And if you don't know it's coming and you're not really paying attention, it's bad.
Because it should be devastating for your entire party.
Well, yeah, the other character that's like there helping you says something at one point, and basically what happens is this thing like curls up into like a coil, and then it just fucking shoots out this like fire blast.
Jesus!
The crazy part is so like if you die 3 times total amongst all of you, the mission's over. You got to start over. So I didn't even understand what was happening. None of us did. We died and had to go. So second time, I understand what's going on, but there's like these things you're supposed to hide behind. Couldn't figure it out, but only 2 of us died. So the fight kept going. After we died, it puts up a little thing in the thing that says like, oh, by the way, pull down these rocks and you can hide behind the rocks. So that would have been nice to know before I die.
And that seems just like a glitch.
It just seems like, and the game has that kind of thing where, guide boxes will stay on the screen too long, or not the proper one, or not the right one will be on the screen. Stuff gets locked, or like music quiets off and then it comes back. It just has a lot of like those kind of game issues in it where it's just tiny little dumb shit that happens in everything you play. But yeah, the game's still phenomenal. Like we've got to be getting. I don't even know how close we are in the story because the story's not very long. Because the whole point of the game is to do everything after it. But
that game's had at least a patch or 2 now, hasn't it?
I know for sure it had like one big one where it fixed the patch.
Like has that fixed any? Because I know that game has performance issues from what I've seen.
I haven't had too many performance issues. There are occasional times where like you're in like a bigger style arena and then there's a monster and then because it's a living world, like other monsters can kind of like wander in and do shit. And sometimes in that game you just get pinned against the wall and fucked like by the monster. Like you're just screwed. And so like occasionally I'll get like a small dip, but it's never really anything that has affected my gameplay, I would say. But like for every dumbass moment like that thing blowing up or getting pinned against the wall, there's some really cool stuff that happens just by the nature of the game because you'll see like they have tells where it's like he's gonna charge this ice blast, and I just so happen to be standing directly in front of it at the time, so you're just like, oh shit, and you dive at the last second and the blast goes like past you. So like there's a lot of fun moments like that. Like when we were fighting that one dragon, it's kind of like a lightning kind of thing, but he can shoot this giant like red blast. And I didn't even realize what was going on because my character tripped and fell over, and only because I fell over, the blast missed and like went over the top and blew up. Oh my god. So like it's a lot of fun to do stuff like that. If I was playing it by myself, I don't think I'd be happy.
I've always said like those games aren't solo games. That's why
even the last
during
one,
the 3DS
that whole thing together.
Yeah, I was gonna say outside of that, any of those 3DS ones I skipped because I didn't know anybody was gonna sit together and play a 3DS game.
I played one of the PSP ones by myself a decent amount, but that was before it transitioned to console. And
the only
what it
3DS
is.
game I ever did that with was the Resident Evil Mercs mode game.
I played a lot of.
I did a lot of that.
I did play a lot of Final Fantasy Explorers on 3DS,
Okay.
and that was basically Monster Hunter with a Final Fantasy
Yeah.
coat of paint over the top of it. That would be a cool one if they could bring that back. If we could make Stranger of Paradise, we can bring back Final Fantasy Explorers.
Anything's possible.
So there's that. I'm playing more of that soon, and I don't know, I'll be playing that for months and then they'll probably release an expansion or something.
I would assume, probably a year
Yeah.
from now they'll talk about
Oh,
expansion.
for sure. This game's good. I would
It's
assume
their
the goal.
best-selling game of all time now.
Right,
so.
and the last one lasted a couple of years before it got that Iceborne.
I want to
thing.
say it was like 2 years until they did
I
the
would-
Iceborne
And
thing.
you have to imagine they want this game to last as long as possible.
Oh yeah.
So
They
looking
don't.
forward to more of that.
The good thing there is they don't seem to rush these out.
These
Like
ones,
like the world. It's been like World was like 2018, and then I think it was like a year or two. You got Iceborne, and it's been a while. So
Mhm.
until
Well,
this,
that's
game.
why it was such a big reveal at that thing where they're like, "We're making it."
Yeah, and people were really
Yeah, it's
obviously
huge.
excited. But like that thing, that is now the best-selling game of the year thus far
Mm-hmm.
too. So
This is it's on par with like. It's funny too because it's people who like worked at game stores. Like I remember working at game stores when Dark Souls and like Demon Souls were not popular.
yes,
They were not popular games. Nobody played them, and then all of a sudden it was just like, holy shit!
because I even remember because I didn't have Demon Souls when it came out. I jumped on with Dark Souls. I remember picking that up the day one, and like there wasn't anybody, but like by Dark Souls 2, there was a
and
line.
they were
people
just games
psyched.
that, as someone who sold games for a long time, they just never seemed like they were going to be the games that would appeal to the masses.
No, I would
Like
never
that,
in a million
And
years
even
have
like
guessed
I would
Demon Souls.
argue Oblivion to Skyrim was much like that too, where Oblivion
Yeah.
was popular. Like people bought Oblivion because it was kind of a big deal for it to be like a better version of that game on a console actually existed.
At
But
that time, yeah.
between that and the leap that Skyrim took over that was insane. Like people wanted Skyrim bad.
I'd
And
say
Monster
in that
Hunter feels kind of like the same thing.
in that era of like the 360 launch till about like 2009, 2010, like PC gaming was kind of behind consoles
Yeah,
in a
it
way
was.
with a lot of stuff. So, I mean, I had one buddy that was playing through Oblivion on a laptop when it came out, but everybody else I knew was playing on the Xbox. So,
Yeah.
Dang.
But those were just like games that had like cult followings, but they
Mhm.
weren't mass appeal. And Monster
Yeah,
Hunter's
no.
the same thing. It was a cult kind of a game where you
Mhm.
played it on PSP and then maybe you bought the Wii U one. or the Wii one with the remote and the controller and stuff.
but it was also
But
the
worlds
kind of
has
thing at the
completely
time
changed.
where we always said like it'd be cool if they put this on one of the main consoles
Yeah.
and really did something, and then they did
That
with World.
Monster Hunter Tri seemed like a waste to put it on the
Yeah.
Wii. Because not even because like, oh, it's gonna play weird. It's just
Yeah.
because the Wii is not powerful.
No,
It could not do anything close to what the other two systems
not at all.
did.
And also, I would never sit and look at the Wii as an online platform. You know,
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't buy the Wii for games that were available on other systems. Like
I
that
don't
was-
even really think about that much for the Switch. Like, even though there
No.
is the Switch is fully online capable. It has its own service. I have played Mario Kart online. It's the only thing I've really
Yeah.
played online. But like, I don't
I-
think of that system as an online. I'm going to play with other people and get
No,
a
I
part of
Not
it.
at
can't
all.
imagine playing like baseball online on that.
The
system.
only thing that I have ever played in a cooperative setting on the Switch outside of Mario Kart is Stardew Valley. So
Yeah. Well, I think maybe part of it is because some of those games just don't naturally have like an online mode.
no,
Like, what if they made a Hyrule Warriors game that was online?
that'd be cool.
That would be
That'd be
cool.
interesting.
I would love that. I would play that. My friend and I would play that together for sure.
For sure.
But just by myself, like it's a fun game to play. But
Yeah.
I don't think about it that too much. But so yeah, that's Monster Hunter. The other thing is now that Assassin's Creed Shadows is out, I'm back into Valhalla and I'm starting
Time to play
do-
the last one. Yeah.
Time to play the last major one that wasn't Mirage, because I'll do that in probably 2 years. As someone who is on record of loving Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey is probably somewhere in the top 25 favorite video games ever, just because
Odyssey, yeah, I would.
just top
Odyssey is
25 seems fair.
Probably my
Um,
favorite Assassin's Creed at this point. Like even over 2.
I think I can make that argument to myself. Yeah, too. Like 2 and Brotherhood are very good. I like 4 a lot.
They've done such a good job in some ways of stripping out like the bullshit real world story that it feels like its own self-contained thing. Where like
I would argue
every once in a while it's like
too much of it, even though
there's a little too much
present.
of it when it does happen, and it's one of those things where when it does happen, and I don't know how it really is in Valhalla, but from
there's
Odyssey,
a bad example I'll give you in a minute.
But in Odyssey, it's that kind of thing of like when you get to that point, it's a bummer because it's like, I gotta go do this shit for a half hour.
Doing.
Exactly,
and I don't like that. Like that's not why I'm not. But here
isn't
to play future
it's the same
bullshit.
real world character is Odyssey, and
it continues that one woman. Origins. I forget her name because she's not important to me.
She's not an important character to that story. No,
but like just the trajectory of Assassin's Creed where I liked it up until 4. And then Unity fucking killed it. And Syndicate wasn't any good. But then Origin was like, okay, we've completely changed it. And we're going a different direction. And then Odyssey like perfected that.
Yeah.
Valhalla is like a step back. It's just
it was hard for like when I got it.
Boring.
I played a little bit, boring. But it seemed kind of boring. Yeah.
It's boring. Like I love settlement building stuff. Great. Get resources, do buildings. Excellent. I love that part of it. But actually, like running around, it's just so fucking boring, dude. Like I don't know why.
Also, Odyssey famously don't like snow environments, so
I'm not really in a snow. You're in England a lot, so there's really not much of that.
Okay,
but it's a lot of like swamp and like taking down camps and stuff, and it's just I don't know. There's something about it that I just don't like as much as I remember liking Odyssey.
Is the time commitment to platinum that as bad, if not worse, than Odyssey?
It seems like it could be pretty bad.
Because Odyssey obviously is ridiculous, but I did had
Odyssey.
A good time doing it.
Yeah, I didn't mind doing Odyssey. I like doing Odyssey.
Even the DLC.
Origins I got 100% on too. This one, I don't know. The other problem with this one has like 7 fucking DLC packs of like trophies.
And there's also like a big expansion, I think.
Yeah,
too.
It's crazy. I haven't even bought that yet because I don't know if I'll ever want to do it. If I platinum the game, I will do it, which is the sick part. I will do it, but it's just I don't know. I'm not having fun. I find myself like really just kind of forcing myself to be like, all right, run to the next objective, do this, run to the next objective, do that. Like the side stuff is kind of fun, where it's like a little different each time. Where it's like you're in like a cursed area where it's like dark and there's like the whispers and stuff. You have to find an item to destroy it.
Okay.
But it boils down to being the same thing every time. Or there's what's the other thing that they make you do? Oh, you find these like stones and you have to like line up the picture so it makes the picture same thing every time. And if the puzzle solutions were harder to find, maybe I would enjoy it more, but they're really laid out. It's like, gee, I wonder if I'm supposed to climb up on this branch that's completely out of place and stand at the end of it and then look down. Oh, that's just the puzzle solution. It's like it's not like you have to find it. It's just I look around and see that looks out of place. So that must be here for a reason, and then that's exactly what it is. There's the design of it is poor.
So what you're telling me is you should just go back to Baldur's Gate 3.
I really should at this point, man.
Much better story.
Yeah, well, I mean, the story in this is. I mean, I'm sort of interested in like the Viking aspect of it and like making your character, and your character's likable, and like I'm going around helping people out. And my favorite thing to do in the game is there are like little like like GTA you would have like stranger missions, and Red Dead you have like stranger missions. This has that.
Okay.
Where Odyssey had some of it too, but I feel like they really want you to do more with it in this.
It's it'd be like a random person that's marked on the map where it's like, what is this? And it's kind of a side.
Yeah, like I found a guy who he was standing on top of a rock and he was like almost completely naked and he was yelling at these people like down in this like on this island thing in the middle of something, and you're like, what the hell is your problem? And he's like, those people, somebody hated this. People was like, all right. So I went down there and I talked to the lady and she's like, do you want to join like our little dance thing? And you could take your clothes off and put them in that box. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just went over and picked up the box and walked off with it. And they're like,
okay,
hey, wait a minute. They're stealing our clothes. You can't do that. And then people chase you. And then after you get to a certain point, they're like, don't worry. It's like, we can't just be running around naked. And they just bring that guy the clothes back and he laughs because now they're forced to be naked.
That's good.
So it's like little dumb shit like that. which is kind of fun because it kind of breaks up some of the stuff. But
for sure,
I don't know. The real world thing that I encountered, and there probably was more in the beginning when I started this game a year ago. You walk up and I was walking up and you see this like giant tree and it's like glitching.
Okay.
And at first I was like, maybe I'm seeing things or something's wrong. And then I realized, and then I forgot, oh no, this game is stupid. So you walk up and you touch this thing and then it's like, then it flashes to the real person and she's like, I found a data packet. We got to hack the data packet. So you have to climb these. It's like, do you remember Mirror's Edge, the challenge levels?
Yes.
Where it was just like the blocks floating in the air and you had to like run up. It's like that.
Yeah, they were a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's like that. Although these aren't a pain in the ass. They're slow and they take forever because you have to point the ball of light at the platform to light it up so you can stand on it. It's like so lazy. It's just lazy
that
game
sounds
design.
Lazy, yeah.
I guess it's to break stuff up, but it's just not entertaining at all. So maybe I'll blast through the story and see how many trophies I get, and then one of them is hunt down every notorious person. I'll probably do that just for the hell of it. Yeah, it's an Assassin's Creed game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play Shadows at some point, I guess, so I'll finish this one first. But, maybe I'll play Shadows in 2028, right?
That's the right trajectory that you're on.
Yeah, to stay behind a little bit and wait for patches and get the games for $10.
That'll have all the DLC and stuff by then.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're doing that for this.
I think I bought Valhalla for $20 like a couple years ago. Shadows, I might just wait until I can get the whole fucking
That's
thing.
what I was gonna say. If you're on that trajectory, by the time you get to that, it'll have
be
that
20 for all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you said, I'm going to get baseball tomorrow, and then picking up my Suikoden 1 and 2 thing tomorrow. When do I start that? Who knows?
That was very much like that Switch game where I was like, I just put that on my shelf. Yeah, I was like, I'm just putting this on my shelf for now.
When do I play it? I don't know.
After reading how long those two games are, I was like, I don't know when this is going to happen.
Very long.
They look awesome.
I never really played through them back in the day. I think the only Suikoden game I really ever played a lot of was 3.
Okay.
But hey, maybe if these sell well enough, they'll remake 3. That was just a PS2 game. So
I can imagine they probably sold pretty decently. So
or just throw it out on the PS5, PS2 game thing and add some trophies and be done with it. But
that's the key there. Release with trophies.
Add trophies. But yeah, that's it for me.
But you, Matt?
So I jumped into Ghostbusters, the video game remastered, on Switch. My youngest wanted to play it, so he's been into that. So we've been playing it off and on. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a Ghostbusters game. It's essentially
great game.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. And busting ghosts. I mean, who doesn't want to bust ghosts?
What system are you playing on?
The Switch.
Okay.
Yeah, I have it. I think I have it for. I know I have it for the PS3 when it came out.
Well, I played when it originally came out. I played on the Xbox, but then they did like a physical of that remaster. I want to say it's been a couple years. I replayed it on the Xbox. That might have been pre-Series X. That might have been Xbox One. It's been that long, but that's a very good version of that game.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Nothing too crazy. I mean, it's a good game if you like Ghostbusters.
Basically,
and you like
Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah, that's all it really is. So it's a lot of fun. Playing some more Sniper Elite Resistance. I'm still having a good time with it. Yeah, I thought it was a really cool shot. This dude was sitting on like in a sniper tower, and I was able to pick him off.
Okay.
And the bullet went through his chin and like shot him up in the air like 3 or 4 feet. Yeah. And that was like probably the coolest shot I've done recently. So, I mean, yeah, it's a bunch of stealth. I know you're not a big fan of that, so really,
I like stealth. I told you my issue with that is as those games progressed as a series, it got less and less about sniping. Like it still has the great kill camera and everything, but it gets more about like I'm gonna sneak around this base. I'm like, it's essentially it's like a Splinter Cell game now.
It really is, because it's like the moment you get seen, it takes you like at least a good 15-20 minutes to like get unseen.
So especially at a higher difficulty. Yeah, it gets really crazy.
Then I started Dead Rising 4.
Okay.
I haven't gotten too far into it. Like I probably just played like
You're a few months late on that? You should have done that around Christmas?
5 or 10 minutes into it.
Okay.
But it's not too far. I mean, it's a Dead Rising game. It's fun so far.
I don't hate any of the Dead Rising games. I know there's a passionate fan base that doesn't like 3 or 4 because they got away from the stuff that was kind of like cool.
3's pretty good.
3's pretty good.
3 hasn't been bad when I've been playing around with it.
But they went in another direction where it's like, how many zombies can we get on screen? How many crazy zombie kills can you get? And it gets away from like the time management stuff that made that series unique and interesting.
Yeah, that a lot of people really enjoyed.
But I think the story of this of Dead Rising 4 is pretty good. And I like that you're Frank West. It's a bummer it's not the original guy. But the guy that does voice him in this is very good. He's very funny.
Yeah, it's been a solid
There's a
one.
lot of good humor in it. And I do like that they rebuilt the Willamette Mall. And it's a really cool mall to explore. And that is the one thing that I really feel was missing from 3. Like 3's a good game. And I like exploring that town, but there's no mall to tie it together. This game has the mall, but it also has the town of Willamette that you can explore too, which is cool. So, but also a good Christmas game. So you don't get a lot of those.
And then the other thing I decided to pull the trigger on was WWE 2K25. So unfortunately, I went ahead and bought it. It's not bad. The thing I do like, they kind of brought back the chain wrestling concept of it to where you can like, you guys can go punch for punch with each other. And like, at some point the punches can turn into reversals. I'm really a big fan of chain wrestling when it comes to that kind of stuff. And they got away from that for the past couple of years, but now they kind of went back into it with this one. I think the models look pretty good compared to last year for sure. The only big problem I really have with it, which really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, is they continue to put people like CM Punk, like the new CM Punk, and then they got like CM Punk 2010, and then they got CM Punk 2010 masked, and then CM Punk the Straight Edge Society. And it's kind of like,
I see.
Why don't you just make it one CM Punk?
Just make costumes for him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Instead of making him 4 different characters. Another problem I had with it was like, let's say for instance, take that CM Punk how there's 4 of them. One of the pictures of him are like computer generated versus like him in it. You know what I mean? And it kind of looks a little
goofy from that era, so they had to make one up, kind of a thing. It's
kind of weird. Like they do that for a couple of people they've done. Like, you know, I can't remember off the top of my head who, but like Charlotte Flair has 2 different models.
Because she probably wasn't there for like
different models.
Face scan for one of the things.
Whatever day they were doing it. And they were like, fuck it. Let's just
So it's just kind of like weird how they did that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm just kind of like, just put them as different costumes, because essentially they're still doing the same thing. Like, what's it really matter? But I haven't played any of the island mode. I don't really think I'll touch it, to be honest with you, because I don't really
you want to hang out on the island,
around the island
Paul Heyman?
No, not at all. I am just playing through the showcase right now as far as the Bloodline showcase, just to unlock the people there that are hidden behind that wall. So that's pretty cool. Like playing through. The only gripe I really do have about that is like some of the matches you play through are more like video, like cutscene type things. So it's not really
like press X and then it just does this part of it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, okay, well that's cool, because like you played the one level I could think about where you actually play more cutscenes than you do of the actual match was like the most recent like Nia Jax and Lyra Valkyria match they had, I think, for like the last Queen of the Ring last year. But like literally you play maybe like 5 minutes of the actual match and the rest is just cutscenes.
That's lame.
All right. Well, I guess that's okay. So
yeah.
All in all, not bad so far. I think it's a little better than last year's. The models look cleaner.
I was gonna say, does it look any better than last year's?
I feel like it looks a lot better than last year's. I just feel like the models this year look way better than they did last year.
Okay.
And you can kind of see it in pictures and stills and stuff like that. But I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for the DLC, I probably wouldn't have bought this game. But the ones that they do have released so far are really cool characters. So I'm hoping that they already have like dates of when all the DLC is supposed to release. So
they usually map all that stuff out right away.
It's just waiting on it all. But yeah, that's really it. So maybe
they got you.
They got me, unfortunately. That's how they do it, man. They just sucker you in. I will say the one thing I'm not really sure that I do like are these elite characters that they're bringing in.
Okay.
Where they're like the toy figures that you can play as.
Okay, that's a little weird.
I've seen like the John Cena, like the Mattel doll.
Yeah.
They're creepy.
Okay.
They're weird. I don't know how I feel about them. Like, I haven't tried playing as anybody.
I think they did some of that last year too. But
They did. I think like 2 or 3 people. But this year, supposedly, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 of them this year.
Weird.
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, nah, I don't think so.
Not
but
now.
Whatever.
Not right now.
Yeah. It's and I will say the one thing I did notice is the blood mechanic has kind of changed on this one too, which has been kind of interesting.
A little more violent?
I wouldn't even say.
Well, women can bleed now. I don't think they could before.
Yeah, no, I don't believe so either. Well, and everything is intergender opened, so like.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is it's really good because like last year, if you picked a guy, you had to wrestle other guys. Like there was a way of going around it. But you had to go through like the showcase mode or some other stat. But this time, like if you literally pick CM Punk, you can wrestle Charlotte Flair without even having to worry about it.
Yeah, and any kind of match and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Right?
So they opened that up, but I will say I think it's interesting because like I had one of my random matches, and one of the guys I had him bleeding from like the side of his head versus like the front of his head. Which was kind of interesting. I was like, okay, that's a kind of unique as far as what they normally do. Bit. Yeah, they've updated the mechanics on that, so it's interesting. So I mean, I'm gonna definitely play a little more. I'm gonna get my money out of it, but I mean, no island mode for me. No, thank you. But that's all I've played so far.
Well, we can kick over to news. There's a little bit of news. It's been light, but I think news is light right now because a lot of big things are being held for the Switch 2 reveal. So I think like big trailers and stuff like that, I think are kind of being held back for that.
Yeah.
We're what, like little under 2 weeks away from that. So
yeah.
So right around the, for something I bitched about 3 months ago, it's right around the corner finally. So Split Fiction has sold 2 million copies since its release a couple weeks ago. And they've announced their intent to make a movie based on it. I don't know if that will come to fruition, but they've at least announced that it is in the works to make.
I wonder if it would be real life or animated. I think I would like to see it real life. Maybe some kind of weird combination of it.
I'd have to play the game to make that decision. I don't.
Sure.
Yeah, like I haven't seen enough because it's one of those kind of. For me, it's one of those kind of things where like. I saw the trailer. I got the concept. It's like, I don't need to see anymore.
Right.
Like, I know what it is and I would like to play it. So I'd have to see more of the game to decide, like, should this be animated? I feel like if it was animated, it's too similar to just playing the game. So
yeah, and that's why I feel like it would have to be real people, but maybe but depending on some of the worlds you go to, maybe like you change the style.
So you're saying it should be like the Minecraft movie? I
think everything should be like the Minecraft movie.
Okay.
Especially, and I think every toy should be like the Minecraft movie toys.
Gross.
Are either of you going to be dragged to the Minecraft movie?
My son won't stop talking about it.
Okay, so you probably will.
I'm in danger, is what I'll say.
Right now, you are dangerously
I'll see
close.
if I can talk him down. I wonder if that's a movie that's not going to be on digital very fast.
I feel like they're gonna hold that in the. I also feel like it's gonna do well. Like even
it doesn't matter.
Even for like looking at it and be like, I don't know what the fuck this is. I think kids are excited. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's a Minecraft movie.
He loves it. I kind of draw my line at the weird ass toys. They're
weird.
There's
the Jack Black toy particularly looks bad.
That toy is awful. They also make one of Momoa and it looks terrible too.
I've not seen the Jason Momoa.
It was at Target, I think.
Okay.
But then there's also Lego Minecraft movie sets, not just Lego Minecraft sets, Lego Minecraft movie sets. Like, why do we need this?
To say, I think the last time I was in Walmart is a little bit early for Minecraft movie stuff because I was watching them clearancing out everything Captain America you can imagine.
So, that stuff is dead.
I'm talking like they've just converted random end caps, like a bunch of Captain America shit. And it's just like they can't get
one of the
end
caps is just full of everything Captain America, and there's just like, oh man,
so
we
much
fucked
of
up.
It's insane. Yeah, somebody fucked up at the purchasing.
Yeah. But yeah, Split Fiction, I'd love to see what a movie would be. The only hope is it's not just the game as the movie.
Yeah.
You would hope maybe they try to make new worlds or whatever,
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that cool thing about the game where it had a hidden level in it?
I saw that because the people that beat the hidden level got to go and
he's going to invite them to come see the next game.
The next game that they're already working on. So,
but apparently it's like some super hidden secret thing that
they probably
you both have to finish. You both have to finish without dying. And it's I think people call it laser hell because I've watched a clip of it.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
Okay. Life is Strange. What was the most recent Life is Strange is called?
Double Exposure,
where they brought back the character Max from the first game. Won the GDC Social Impact Award, but because the team has already been disbanded, no one was there to accept the award.
That's wild.
And like I said, we were talking about before we recorded, but like it's not really a reflection on if the game is good or bad. It's just I think we have moved on from Telltale type games.
We've moved on from games so Life is Strange is a weird one where, like, I think when the first one came out, you remember I was very excited for it. I thought,
I thought the concept was cool.
Concept was cool. We liked the studio because we liked Remember Me.
I think that game's
two
awesome.
of the few people
Very
that like
underrated.
Remember Me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were like, okay, so we were into it. I liked Life is Strange. It's good. I just replayed it. It's very good, but then it became its own genre, and then it like pumped out a sequel, and then it pumped out another one, and then it pumped out this thing, and then it did it's like they oversaturated themselves to the point where, yes, the characters all got new powers, but it's no longer a new concept.
Yeah.
It's the same style, like you said, like Telltale game. It's the same type of game.
They hit the same thing that the Telltale games. The only difference there is they made a Telltale game of everything.
It was a better thing. Like, not that I like episodic games, but at the time when the first one came out, that was a better way to do it because it was just telling a story.
I would also argue they had a better engine than Telltale.
Well, but now we're talking like full retail releases that aren't hitting, and for a company that, no sales figure is ever good enough.
No. So that's every company now.
But yeah, I mean, I think Life is Strange as a franchise, probably dead at this point.
I think so. Yeah. I put this in here because I thought it was interesting. I remember seeing an article about it earlier this week. They discovered a hidden 60 frames mode that is buried in like the source code for Xenoblade Chronicles X. So
yeah,
that has people that has people thinking there is a Switch 2 like mode or version for that game. So like when you play it,
there is.
I bet you there is, and that'll be the time I pick. I've never played that game. I had it. There was a point where I owned it for the Wii U, and I have the strategy guide. But
there'll be a thing where as soon as during that Switch 2 like sizzle reel review, there's going to be stuff that comes up that says Switch 2 enhanced or something or whatever.
I think so. Like I've been going back and forth on it because if you think of the history of Nintendo, like they've never really done enhancements for.
They never care
anything backwards. They don't care, but I could see them doing it this time because the hardware is so similar.
And
there's a benefit.
And you're right. It's because this is the first time I really even from like Wii to Wii U, it was different, right? Because you had the tablet. The tablet changed even how multiplayer games worked on that system for the most part. This is literally just like we are making the same console again. It is more powerful, and it will do more things, and it's going to be. But it is the same thing.
Do you think that the cartridges will look any different? I don't. I think they're going to look the same. Except they just have a 2 on.
Well, here's a question about that then. So DS and 3DS games are different. They have a notch in them.
They have a little notch. Do you think this has like a notch?
Because they don't want you to put 3DS games in a DS.
So do you think they do something like that here?
What happens if not to say that there's going to be Switch 2 games right away.
Sure.
But what happens if I put a Switch 2 game in a Switch?
I don't know.
So are they going to let me do that? And then when I try to boot it, it just says, this is a Switch 2 game. It must be played on a Switch 2. Or are they going to physically lock me out like they did with that?
That's another big question that will hopefully be answered in a week and a half.
I hope so. Just to show me a cartridge.
Yeah.
But like, you would have to assume that they'll do the physical lockout just because that's the best solution to avoid it being a problem.
I think so.
And what if they're like smart, they're different colors.
What if like the Switch 2 cartridge is like a hair bigger, like the port, as far as it goes, is just bigger than the actual regular Switch?
It has to be something where it can't fit into a Switch.
Yeah.
So it has to be either wider or a notch or something. But a Switch game has to be able to fit in it. Because there's no way in hell they would ever lock out Switch games. Like, they already said that they were. But
I was like, and thinking about it too, like,
they gotta be different colors, right? They gotta be white.
Gotta be. I think that, definitely. Well, it's very easy to look at Nintendo and go like, hey, they would totally be a company that would double dip on a lot of these games, right? Like, hey, here's the Switch 2 version of Tears of the Kingdom and so on.
Sure.
I don't think they do that this time because I think they know that is directly insulting.
I think the only difference would be like, we're re-releasing Breath of the Wild,
but it has
everything.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a situation where you can get away with it.
I think the Breath of the Wild, I think you could do it for that one.
And even if if that was MK9 or Mario Kart 9, and that's real.
I know what you mean, Mario Kart 9.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I know what you mean.
Even if that was Mario Kart 9 and that is real, maybe it's not necessarily coming out right away. If you want to put 8 on a thing with all of the stuff in it, do it. It's fine. Well, who cares? So there's something about that, but are they going to go back and be like, here's Odyssey on here with there's no extra stuff for it? Like, why would they do that?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think you show Mario Kart 9 and not have it be a launch title though.
Well, I mean, that was a cheeky little.
That's a deliberate move, though, to show that.
Sure, it is, but and Nintendo is smart, but that may not be a launch. It could be a 3-month window.
Could be a holiday.
It could be. It comes out at the end of this year, but in the meantime, if you don't have Mario Kart 8 and you're picking up a Switch 2, we're selling Mario Kart 8 for Switch 2 for $80, and it's got everything. Something like there's.
I will say though, if the 60 frame mode is a thing, though, that will get me to buy a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles because like that would be a good selling point for me. I've never played it. I think it looks awesome.
I think that, but like I said, like Odyssey, there's no reason to redo that. It actually would be easier for them to just reprint more copies of the Switch game, than to make Switch 2 versions of it if it's not going to do anything different.
Yeah,
right.
So, because
it'll be interesting.
People, not everybody's going to be able to even fucking find a Switch 2 to buy. We've talked about this.
I mean,
the price is irrelevant. They're not going to be available, period. Anybody who thinks they're making enough, there's never enough.
There's never enough, though.
Ever.
We've never, since the PS2, we've never had a console launch where there's been enough at launch. Because ever since that system, it's always been a big deal.
There was no 360s at launch. There were there were PS3s. That's for a different reason.
Yeah.
But there were no PS4s. There were no Xbox
could have gone out
for a while
and got a Wii U. But that'd be
the only other one. You could have got the
one.
white ones.
Okay.
You could have got the white because nobody wanted it. We shouldn't have bought a white one.
Yeah.
But the Switch, like, we didn't have Switches for months. 3DS
remember
were some of the worst.
Every time we get them, that would be, we want you to sell it as a bundle.
Right. I saw something. I saw a friend of mine who still works there texted me something. This is a small GameStop tangent about somebody posted a story on Reddit how they went into a GameStop and wanted to just buy a Switch. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And the guy wouldn't let them buy a Switch unless they bought like 3 games and an extra controller. And I was like, my brother in Christ, it is 2025 and it's a regular Switch.
And it's
absolutely, you can buy it with nothing attached. I don't give a shit. Well, because, my numbers, I did video games for a very long time. And they would always talk about forced bundles and all this kind of stuff. But I never, ever forced it on people.
No.
The only time I had to do it was the PSP, the original PSP. At Game Crazy, they would not let you reserve one unless you reserved like 3 games.
Didn't they get smart at one point with those bundles where they made it a SKU? So
There was
you
that.
could not return because the thing would be people would order them and they would return everything else. Like I just want the system.
There was that, and because that was done wrong. But it was basically like people would do that and try to return that stuff to me, and I go, okay, I have to return everything.
Mhm.
Well, then can I just buy the Switch back? No, I have to send that out, even though that wasn't true. But I'm not letting you fuck my store over because the company ran bundles the wrong way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It should have always just been like it's a $600 Switch bundle. You have to buy it, and it's one SKU.
I feel like it wasn't the Switch. I want to say
Eventually
they got to like the PS5.
Yeah,
And I feel
eventually
like
it
at that
changed.
point they did like it's a SKU and
Yeah,
it is what it is.
that was the way it should have been. But but yeah, Switch 2. Just to go back to that, like you're not gonna be able to get one. Period.
No.
You think you could walk into a store day one and get one? You can't.
Negative.
No.
All of the reserves are going to be gone within 10 minutes. 10.
Easily.
If at that.
Do you think
because if Nintendo somehow announces on that thing, it's like available to reserve April 27th or something. God have mercy on your soul if you work at a GameStop, dude. That day will be hell.
But what do you think would be better? What do you think is a better scenario? If they announce a day and date, or they just announce it's right now?
What's right? Oh, to pre-order right now?
Yeah,
that never works.
that never works. I know that.
It doesn't work for the company, and B, it makes it a bigger shit show.
I mean, remember when they did that at E3 for the PS4 and the Xbox One?
Yeah, that was a huge.
That was
problem.
a shit show.
I think it's better for them to say reserves start at this date and this time, and make the time noon in California or something.
Yeah.
Or like, because that way every store is open at the same time. Because remember, that was a problem with the Switch one, because remember, pre-order started on a certain day. But if you wanted the Zelda Master Sword Edition, if you weren't in the East Coast, you couldn't get it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because fuck everybody else, because the stores in New York were open. All copies gone immediately. So there's not a good way to do it.
No.
Every GameStop store is going to get, fucking 6 if they're lucky. And
I feel like it's going to be a low number.
And they're going to be on eBay the next day for $1,500.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
If you thought scalpers on the original Switch were bad or PS5 were bad,
it will be worse for this.
This will be worse.
It will be.
Especially if Mario Kart 9 is a release day title.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll say a day and date though. I don't think they'll pull that. It's available now.
They won't do now, because even during directs, they always say later today.
Yeah.
Or this or that. They very rarely ever say like right now.
The only time they do that if it's like a digital release of a demo or something.
Even,
like it's
like a demo or something.
And even then, it's never right now. You usually have to wait.
It's
for
a couple
an update.
hours.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think
Nintendo's been playing the game long enough that they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
and it's this system could be 10% more powerful than a current Switch. Sold out immediately. Does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
I told you, like, I don't care. I really don't need one day one. I can't imagine a game that they could give me day one that I'd be like, yes, I have to buy. Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I'm in the other boat where it's just like, I just want a new version of this fucking machine.
But Breath of the Wild was a thing where, even though I don't like the game, I'm into playing a new Zelda game at the time. Before I realized I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
And that was what you wanted to do. You didn't want to be the dumbass playing the Wii U version of it.
No, you didn't.
So Mario Kart 9 for me is not a big enough game for me to care. Because even if it's new, even if it's got more racers and new courses and more of this and more of that, it's Mario Kart. It was not
what would tip you over?
I don't know.
As a launch game. Odyssey
for me, Odyssey 2 would be close.
Okay.
That would be probably the closest you could get. Although, maybe I don't want Odyssey 2. Maybe I want whatever the next thing is.
F-Zero Returns. I'm kidding.
That's not enough. That's not a launch title purchase. Or, launch. That's not a $500 console purchase.
Star Fox 28.
They'll never make a good Star Fox game.
Yeah, they won't make another. I don't think so.
Yeah, see, the franchises I would want are they're never going to make them again.
I got it. Mother 3.
They won't do that.
They won't do
it. They won't do that on the principle that game is now a joke to them.
It is. It is.
The amount of times they've referenced it and like made a joke about like, wouldn't it be funny if we like put this out on consoles?
Yeah.
Like the fact that it's not on Virtual Console is fucking insane.
It's ridiculous. Yes.
I don't understand. Translated copies of that game have existed for a decade.
Yeah.
You think if you went to these fan translators who did it and just said, "Hey guys, we're gonna fucking release it. Can we just use your thing?" They wouldn't all just be like, "Hell yes."
Yeah.
Of course they would. But all the franchises I would want are ones that they would never A, make again, or B, would be enough for me to buy a console for.
Yeah.
I'd have to have an F-Zero, a Star Fox, and you know what I want? I want Star Fox 64 too. Just call it that.
There you go.
I don't even care if it's not 64-bit anymore. Just call it Star Fox 64
That's why Star Fox 128. Yeah.
Star Fox 64 on 3DS. It's on 3DS. That's not 64.
There you go.
But yeah, I can't imagine the game. Maybe Odyssey 2, Sunshine 2 would do it for me. They'll never make that game.
They'll never make that game.
You won't see if you ever see a Smash Brothers game on this console, it's 5 years away.
Super Mario RPG 2.
I'd do it.
It depends on what.
Like, all right.
It depends on what it is
up.
and who made it.
I gotta go.
If it's a direct sequel to that game,
yeah,
I could be convinced, but I would have to have it be more. Like the game is very good. It's one of my favorite games ever, but it's still limited by the Super Nintendo, even though they remade it for the Switch. I would have to see more. Maybe a new Paper Mario that's like on the level of Thousand Year Door and stuff like that.
Okay.
Here we go. Mallow and Gino's Adventure.
Fuck yeah. All right, now we're talking.
There you go.
You take the two best characters in that game, you give them their own game? Hell
give them their own game. You're in day one.
Yeah, that's a start. They're flying R-Wings. Fox is here. They go to space.
That's all we need.
The ultimate crossover. That's what I want.
There you go.
Mario Party. Yeah, fuck it. Just new Mario Party. They're all so good.
I'm in day one, but I really want a new Switch.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know.
It's so weird to me that it's one of the few systems since like the old days that I've had the launch system the entire time. I've never had to get a new Switch. Never had to swap it out.
Yeah, never felt the need to. It never broke.
Not at all.
The only thing I will say is mine now
probably gets pretty hot. Okay.
The fan is a little loud.
Bought a second dock at one point. Yeah, I was gonna say like I have two docks.
So I'm not sitting next to it.
But so hopefully this one is as well made hardware wise. But it's weird when I think back because even like I guess Nintendo stuff I've never really had like a major issue with one dying, like even the GameCube or anything.
No,
but
my Cube is my original one that still works great.
I don't have a Wii or Wii U anymore.
My original
like,
Super Nintendo still works.
So I have original Nintendo. Super Nintendos are pretty bomb proof. I have my original 64.
64, I feel like I could throw it off a building and it would still work. Yeah,
so they make solid stuff.
Game Boys, as long as you took the batteries out of them, they lasted.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I should probably switch the batteries in my SPs. But
bring on April 2nd.
It's coming.
See what they have. Very, very exciting announcement. Power Wash Simulator 2 has been revealed for a late 2025 release. I am honestly surprised it's this fast. I really thought we'd probably get like another year of DLC.
Well, especially since we just got a DLC. They basically released the Wallace and Gromit.
It's out. I have not bought it yet. I'll wait for it to be on sale.
Me too. But
they literally also added more achievements and trophies than any other DLC pack. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah. And they're not that bad though. I like the run. Yeah. But yeah, it's just they announced that DLC and then they're like, oh, by the way, here's Power Wash 2. And then like the trailer for it is just like more crazy shit to clean. Fine, game of the year. Doesn't matter.
I'm super excited. So I'm
predicting right now that will make top 5 game of the year.
Probably. If they can hit the 2025 release.
I could see that.
I could see it being delayed a little bit just because the last one kind of was. Because remember, it was really janky in the beginning.
It had to say, especially if you were going between, like, if you're on the Xbox, you're going between PC with the Play Anywhere thing and the console. It had some save issues where, like, there was one, the subway level specifically was very jacked for me, where I had to just basically redo it a second time.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they have that shit ironed out for a sequel. In keeping with game announcements, we got a proper reveal for Silent Hill F, which is out later this year. It looks awesome.
So who is making this one?
So it's being made in Japan. It is. It's muted. It is in Japan. It is made by it's made by Konami, but the specific there's like a prolific Japanese writer that's writing this one. It's set in the 1960s.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that. So
yeah, I did see that.
And another thing that's cool, there are no guns in the game. It is all melee weapons. I don't know if you watched the trailer. It's fucking crazy.
I didn't watch it. No.
The end of that trailer, this lady is literally peeling her face off.
Gross.
Like, it's the start of it. Like, you don't see the whole thing,
Sure,
obviously, but
yeah.
like, it is going really dark, really wild. I like everything about it. It looks cool. It's a nice, fresh take on Silent Hill. I don't know what the context of like how Silent Hill is going to work in Japan, because it's set in Japan. It's not set in the town of Silent Hill. So that's kind of the other interesting aspect of it. But it just looks fantastic. Visually,
It looks really good.
Yeah. So it comes with like a mega, like, you don't really see this for video games anymore. Like you see content warnings for movies and stuff a lot now, but it has like a mega content warning on it when you start that trailer. Like higher than, because from my understanding, in Japan, this game has whatever the equivalent of an AO rating is in Japan.
Oh, jeez.
But it does not here.
That's gonna
But
be
there is a
intense.
heavy like, hey, this game, like it literally says like it's basically like, this game is fucked up, like in that thing. So it looks wild, but I am super excited about it as a Silent Hill fan. It just looks like something new and fresh with Silent Hill, and I'm glad that like after years and years and years, like Konami seemingly has finally learned, like, hey, why don't we just let somebody take the reins of this and make something wild with it? Now, if we can only get something to do with Castlevania, so instead of letting that sit and die in DLC for other games, this kind of broke a little bit this past week. Obviously, Assassin's Creed Shadow is out now, or I think it's Shadows, right? Is out now. But Ubisoft, as you know, has not had a good time in recent times. They're not doing very well.
Just in general, not even just this game. Yeah.
And this game's not going to do it. Like it will sell. It's kind of like it's funny because I look at it to the video game parallel of the Snow White movie, where it's like,
oh gosh,
it's not going to do it for this company. Kind of like Snow White's not going to do it for Disney. Like, it will do well. There's still going to be people that are like, oh, hey, a new Assassin's Creed. Hey, it's in Japan. That's really cool. And they know nothing of the controversy and they don't care. It'll still sell. They're still going to buy it. But there's enough there that people are just not interested. And we're also at a point, like you said earlier, playing through Valhalla, where it's like, this is now the fourth one of these. And people are kind of tired of this formula.
Right. And I think that was part of the plan with like Mirage, was to try to break it in half.
Yeah.
But when this is just another one of these, these games are too much. Like, they just are.
But in keeping with that, obviously Ubisoft's not doing very well. Well, it came out because there was like a investor strike this week at Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft in England or London, somewhere over there. There was a strike with the shareholders because apparently it leaked out that Ubisoft has been shopping around some of these IPs to different companies, including Microsoft. Now, as far as what IPs, I don't know. If I was we talked about earlier this week, if I was Microsoft, I would be interested in buying Splinter Cell.
I want Splinter Cell back.
I think that would be a wise decision on their part. I'm sure they also looked at Assassin's Creed and Far Cry and stuff like that.
I told you, there's other IPs like Rainbow Six. Somebody would want to buy. The Division, I want someone to buy and make me a 3, just because the Division
I do too.
Those are very good games that I think
really good games.
Not enough people played because maybe they didn't.
We didn't really play. I didn't play a lot of 2, but we played a shit ton of 1.
I played a shitload of 2.
Okay, we played a lot of the 1.
Yeah.
So,
those are very good games. I would say that Ghost Recon probably still has value to it. I played the last one and thought it was fine. Like, it's not a bad game at all.
Yeah.
Playing it with other people, it was good. So, Ubisoft, I think Ubisoft IPs are valuable. I just think they have no fucking clue what they're doing.
They have no clue. Yeah, like the problem is they fell into a specific pattern for each one of their big IPs.
Right.
Far
They
Cry
just kind of
3
made the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like even Rayman. Remember, Rayman was dead for a while, and then they
And
made
then
Origins, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, this game's really good."
But then they made a sequel that was
Then they made, I think, Legends, and it's like this is the same fucking game.
yeah.
Still really good, but it's like you can't just keep doing this.
Well, I think Far Cry is the best example where it's like that series unfortunately has lived in the shadow of 3 since 3.
Yeah.
And
three
went down
was-
further and further with each release.
One,
till the
it was like
last
one
one's
was interesting.
bad.
Two was better. 3 kind of like is the peak. And then
1
4
is
the
more of
same,
like a
and 5
Half-Life.
is the same. Yeah, yeah.
2
and then-
is kind of started the Far Cry formula.
Hmm.
But 3 is what perfected it.
Right.
So
I really like Primal. That was just me though.
yeah, and like they also like Far Cry has also done offshoots that were successful and
But
interesting.
even
like
Primal's an example of how they
Blood
just
Dragon.
copy shit because
Yeah,
Primal is just 4.
it is a
Like-
reskin of 4, just
Yeah.
different time
Yeah.
period.
Like
Um,
and like, you know, Prince of Persia in theory has value because that last one I haven't played it, but supposedly it's
Have
pretty
it.
good. I have it.
Yeah,
I really wish the Sands of Time remake was a real game.
I
But
think it's
not.
dead now.
I think it's over now. Which is a bummer because that game
Unless someone buys it.
was great.
The thing is, like, they have IPs that I feel like would be very lucrative in the right hands.
Yeah. Oh, I think the other one we were talking about was like Just Dance. Like, I wonder if that still makes them money
I'd be curious.
because it's
yeah.
mostly a mobile thing now, right?
It is, yeah. Like you can still
Even on like the consoles you play with your phone,
I was gonna say, even on the consoles
Yeah.
or like the Switch, you use your phone.
right?
So,
There's got to be money in that still.
there has to be. Like it just seems crazy.
I'm not looking forward to when all this shit just gets sold to the Saudis and it just lives there forever.
yeah,
Or Embracer or
10 cent.
Tencent, and it's just
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's sad. It's sad that at this time and period, I would say the best solution would be to just let Microsoft buy some of those IPs.
just
But
let Microsoft and Sony pick what they want.
and that would be the best solution for everybody. And then maybe Nintendo can get Rayman.
Perfect.
Oh.
Perfect.
That'd be
Like
good.
that would be the good. You know,
They can get that, and they get the Rabbids, and they get
And
Just
then we
Dance. And, there
and
you
we
go.
can kill
Everybody,
Beyond Good and Evil too, and let everybody know it's not
so
happening.
they all just live where they go. Sony can buy Far Cry.
it was
Sony
a
can,
it
Microsoft
was a
can buy
huge
Division.
money laundering scam this whole time. Beyond Good and Evil 2, as we've said in the past.
It was just
It's an
Eve's private
office in,
bank
Ubi,
account.
in one of the
Just be done with
Ubisoft
that.
places where they were just laundering money this whole time. Like that's what I've always thought. I never thought it was real. That like we've talked about, like we talked about the last time we recorded, like Microsoft is just fumbling with their messaging and everything, but that has led to they are now 20% behind the sales of the Xbox One at this time of the last generation.
I got to be honest. It seems like it would be farther.
I do too. Yeah, like
that
that's
seems too close.
Do you
to
ever
me.
see the Japan numbers come out where it's like, hey, how many consoles were sold last week? And you
3.
get to the Xbox, it's like 300 compared to
There,
like
there are
thousands.
times where it's like literally like double digits sometimes.
Yeah,
for
it's bad.
Xboxes.
It
It's
is-
crazy.
It's bad.
It just never ever caught on because gaming works differently over there than it does here, and
They're very mobile focused.
yeah,
That's why handhelds
Switch,
are always.
yeah. DS was
Switch makes a lot of
huge.
sense in Japan.
Mhm.
Oh,
Like-
they're always
like-
moving.
Yeah, they're always moving and stuff. But like again, none of this is surprising when you basically have killed your own brand by saying, well, we're going to put it out everywhere. What is you look at somebody today who maybe hasn't bought one of these systems yet? What would be the compelling argument to buy an Xbox outside of Game Pass, which
There isn't one.
is only
There isn't
going
one.
up in price, you know? And I
The
will say there are
compelling
good
argument
games.
is to buy a PS5 and buy Microsoft games on a PS5.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, the argument I would make this year is like I've enjoyed Avowed, and if I play Adamfall, and I think Adamfall is pretty good, like they've had a pretty decent year with releases thus far. But again, well, Avowed isn't out on PlayStation yet. It will be, and Adamfall is out on PlayStation on Tuesday.
The only
so-
thing is like if I would tell you it's not a smart idea to buy an Xbox now. If anything,
No.
you're waiting to see what the next thing is.
yeah, agreed.
If anything, that's what you're doing.
Agreed. We just talked about this a minute ago, but Another trio of PS1 to PS5 classics came out without trophies. This is the Armored Core games. So Armored Core 1, 2, and 3 came out on that. I think you can buy them specifically separately, or if you have like the extra thing, they're on there. But again, another one of these that have launched without any trophy support.
That's why you don't
It's weird.
play them right away. You wait. And
No,
then,
look at time splitters.
Yeah. They've done it for PS1 games too. Some of those PS1 games end up needing patches because they act so weird.
Yeah.
Like the Legends of Dragoon game had a lot of weird problems in the beginning too, so it was smarter to just wait.
For sure. I put this in here for you because you'll be a little more knowledgeable about it, but the new Digimon game that's coming out, I think they said later this year.
It's supposed to be out this year.
Okay. We'll have 450 monsters, which is the most ever in a Digimon game.
That's a shitload. And the problem is in the last one I played, it was, you got to collect them all. So now if I got to do it again, it's going to take even fucking longer.
Oh, man, good luck.
But, I mean, hey, man, the game looks great.
Game looks
450 Digimon means, I mean, that's got to be pretty much all of them by this point. They announced like the starter choices, which are good, like Patamon, Gomamon, Demi-Devimon. Like Patamon, I'll probably pick Patamon because his evolutions are the best. But like, you know, you collect so money in that game that your starter doesn't even really matter that much, unless maybe they write something into the story. But yeah, they just had the Digimon Con, so they talked about this. They showed some more stuff. They showed there's a TCG for like phones coming out for it. So that's good. It's kind of like the Pokemon one. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then they announced like the new anime coming this year. Yeah, it's crazy how Digimon is still going. Still here.
It's cool. Like that game, like for a like overall pretty weak state of play, that was one of the cooler games they showed. So,
I was surprised by it. I wasn't
not a Digimon person.
I wasn't sure that we would get another one or that it would be this soon.
Yeah.
Survive was such a weird offshoot visual novel game compared to what this one is that I thought, and there's no way a lot of people played that game. But yeah, I just, I would still prefer like if I could get like an actual Digimon World game, but maybe this one's a little bit closer because this one isn't made with the Vita in mind like the last ones were. That was a problem.
Yeah. So that will be out later this year and it looks cool. We have more speculation about Steam coming to the Xbox platform. There was an image that was released from their GDC. I don't know if it actually was shown at GDC.
It was just an thing that got accidentally put up online, I think.
Yeah, it got accidentally put up online. And the important thing to take away from it is the picture that's in question, it's like a tab that's on the PC app.
Right.
It's not like a UI for the Xbox. So it could just be like, think of something like if you load up GOG, you can import all your Steam games to it and launch them from GOG. So it could just be a thing where, hey, we now allow the Xbox app to integrate with Steam games on your PC and you can launch them from the Xbox app. And that might be all it is, which again, still cool, but that's not like, obviously people want this to be, hey, I can play my Steam games on my Xbox. So
no, well, I mean, that's the
dream. And I would say
dream.
like,
Needs
I
to be
would
incredible.
say, if they gave a fuck about selling consoles, which they don't, that would be something you would lead your next Xbox.
If you wanted to sell me this next Xbox, you would tell me your Steam library is playable on it. 99% of your Steam library
obviously
is
there'll
playable.
be things like VR games probably.
Well, and even if it's got to like stream it or some shit, whatever, or it's got to stream it from your PC.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Like if the Portal can stream from my PS5, my Xbox can stream from my computer. You know what I mean?
No.
So
understood.
If you can get that working and this next console has keyboard and mouse support.
I mean, both consoles.
They do, but I'm just saying like if that is like an active like feature and you sell your own fucking keyboard and mouse combo or something.
I don't even think at this given time that would be a hard thing to implement even on the current system.
It's not.
I don't necessarily think it's just flipping a switch, kind of like crossplay was.
Right.
It was very clearly like how we got it was crazy with them just turning on, but like it does work. Like
we've had it working forever.
Yeah, for a while.
It's choose not to.
Yeah, we choose not to do it, but I do think that it wouldn't be that challenging to get it to work.
But save it for your next Xbox. Sell your next Xbox.
And I think that's if we get to that time and place, and now they care about selling hardware again, which they clearly have. They're clearly at a point right now where they don't give a fuck about hardware this generation. They're just all in on Game Pass.
I think if they gave a shit about selling hardware, the thing is to make one system. There's no 3 versions. No bullshit. No, it's one fucking. But we sell one box. Period.
One box and one handheld.
And the handheld that can work with the box, or it can be its own thing.
Yeah,
that's it. I don't need an S or an X or a 250 gig.
And I really hope they don't do that.
I don't need any of this.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Really hope they don't.
And
do
honestly,
that.
if the next one doesn't have a disk drive in it, I get it. You're done.
I don't think it will.
It won't. They've already admitted they're done. They don't make physical copies of shit.
Yeah. But we'll see. I like the rumor. I like the idea of it, but I really think it's just more of a, hey, if you're on PC, you can integrate these games with this app.
I'm sure that's all it is.
And that's all it is.
This app will detect games you have installed on your PC.
Yeah. I'm going to roll this next one into the future game show announcements because there was a ton of stuff at that. So there was this happened yesterday, and I threw it in here mostly because it was kind of a slow news week for the last 2 weeks, but there was some cool stuff that was announced here, and they also showed more stuff that we know about that's coming out. Like they had an extended look, I think, at a newer character that's in Clair Obscur, which is out in a month, which is cool. But again, like, that's a game where I don't need to see any more of it. Like, I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm done.
I already have it reserved. Like, I'm ready to go.
I have it reserved. I will tell you, I am going to read reviews like briefly.
I mean, yeah, if it gets
on the off
negative
chance it gets like slammed,
Yeah.
or if like everybody's like it's like a 5, then it's I don't need it right away. It's I'll buy it digitally
Agreed.
for $20 at some point.
Yeah, agreed there. But something I'm not going to talk about everything that was here because not everything was a huge deal. But Bloober Team, they kind of have announced like an offshoot where they're going to focus on smaller indie horror games that they're going to release. The first one that they're putting out is called I Hate This Place, which looks kind of cool. It's an open world survival game, but it has a really cool art style, and it's based on a comic book of the same name. That'll be out late this year. Some of the other stuff they showed here. Do you remember that Savage Planet game that came out a couple years ago?
Yeah.
There's a sequel to that coming, Revenge of the Savage Planet. Game that I always thought looked interesting.
That wasn't really.
Okay, I never played it.
Yeah, it wasn't like anything. I probably played like 15, 20 minutes of it, but it didn't captivate me, so I just left it alone.
Yeah. There's a cool looking survival horror dinosaur game. No, it's not Dino Crisis. But called Deathground that looks kind of cool. They showed a gameplay trailer for that. That'll be out later this year. That's PC only right now. One of the other bigger ones was System. So remember they did that System Shock. Night Dive Studios did like a remaster of that maybe this time last year.
Yeah.
System Shock 2 is having its 25th anniversary this year. So that remaster is going to be ready to go June 26th. They had an extended trailer for that. That looks cool. I've never played System Shock 1 or 2. Those games at that era.
The first one a long time ago.
That was at that era where I didn't have a PC that would be even remotely capable of playing those games at the time they came out. And I just never went back. And, at that point I was ready for Half-Life. So, I would like to play him. So I have at some point I bought the System Shock 1 remaster because they made a physical. I'll do the same if they do that for System Shock 2. At some point I'll look at it, but I thought that was pretty cool. The other thing that I wanted to highlight here, a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff we know about, other stuff like smaller indie stuff.
I mean,
but there was one
looks
other.
Cool. I mean, a lot of it's going to be.
Yeah.
I need to see it in action, kind of a thing.
This Cloudheim game looked kind of cool. I don't know if you looked at that one. That looked very much. It reminded me of like what's the game that the people that make why can't I think of the stupid game now? It is the only game. Hades.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
The only game what was the game they made before? Transistor.
And then they also made.
It looks like Transistor.
Yeah. They also weren't they're the guys who made, because that's Supergiant, or right?
Supergiant, yeah.
Yeah, they made Bastion, which is like one of my favorite like 360 games.
They made Bastion. Hades is the only game they've ever made a sequel to.
Right.
Which
I would love another Bastion game, man. Like, the game is so good.
It'd be cool for them to go back
and remake it.
Make that. I still am super into trying this Mecha Break game whenever it comes out. I don't know. I mean, I've heard mixed things on it, but I like mechs. Okay. The other big thing that I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you watched the trailer for this. I think I sent it to you. But we finally got our first look at that cooperative game set in the Control universe called FBC Firebreak. It looks like I went into it. I saw screenshots. I was like, I don't know if this is what I care about. And then I watched the trailer, and it looks awesome because it's just you and three. I think it's up to 4 people.
Yeah,
it's just you experiencing crazy shit going on in that building.
Right, and which was like some of the most fun parts of that game.
The thing they show in here is like a monster that is made of Post-it notes.
Yeah,
and it just looks wild. It looks wild and fun. That looks awesome. It will be on, so that'll be out this summer, which is cool. It's on everything, but it's on Game Pass, and if you have like the PlayStation, whatever we call the PlayStation equivalent of Game Pass, it'll be on that as well, or you could just buy it.
Extra.
They showed off that new game from Bloober Team, the one that they're working on right now called Chronos: The New Dawn, which is their like space horror game. I think that game looks pretty cool. And then the last big thing that they showed, and again, there were a lot of indie games here, but one that I thought was pretty cool is the shooter series Painkiller is making a return.
Yeah, I mean,
which is
that's been gone for a long time.
As a co-op, the last one came out in 2004, so it's been a while. But I always thought those games were pretty cool. Well, if you think about it, when those games came out, they came out in like the original Xbox. So it is of that era.
That makes sense.
But it is what you think. It's a boomer shooter. It's one of those fast-paced like Doom type shooters. This one is fully co-op, which looks cool. But it is developed by 3D Realms, which is cool. That is supposedly out later this year. It'll be out on everything. So like I said, a couple cool things announced there in the midst of a lot of indie stuff, but I think a lot of people are holding stuff back for that Switch thing. So
yeah.
Have you seen that Dark Mass game that PlayStation announced?
No.
It's so I don't know if you remember me talking about it, but it kind of reminds me of that underwater movie I watched last year where dang it now. Yeah.
Is that the one that has the Twilight Girl in it?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay. I can't think of her name.
So essentially what it is, it's this, you're diving in the ocean and you come across this house and she like goes into the house underwater and the house is essentially haunted.
Okay.
It looks interesting, but I don't know much about it.
Was that what the movie was about, or is it the game?
Yeah, the movie was
okay.
So the game and the movie kind of like replicate each other, which is really weird.
Like the movie now.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called now, but now I'm like, hold on, not Underwater House.
So there is a movie called Underwater, and it's a crew of oceanic researchers working for a deep sea drilling company, and it stars Kristen Stewart. Well, that is what it is. Okay.
No, the Deep House is what the one I'm thinking is called.
The game.
No, the Deep House is the movie I'm thinking of. Dark Mass is the game that PlayStation just announced that looks just like the movie does.
Okay. Diving in a remote French lake. Okay.
Yeah, weird.
That is
interesting. Weird. I caught it on YouTube and I was like, okay. I wonder how it's going to play out because like in the movie,
idea.
You know, it is just strange overall. So, I mean, I don't know. It looked weird, but it looked interesting too.
Okay. No, I'm in on that. I like the weird, so I'm in on that. We can do really quick our game recommendations for the week. The one that I picked is one I'm playing right now, one I bought, but The Mummy Demastered. I just think it's a really cool game that most people would write off because it's based on a very shitty movie. But if you go into it looking at just the game and taking the movie element of it out, it is a very good Metroidvania game. But that has some really cool concepts going for it. So highly recommended. It looks awesome. So Dan, you have a good one with a visual aid.
Yeah. Well, I told you I want to
play on the audio version, but
yeah, I want to try to pick stuff off of my shelf to kind of like show off and stuff. So this is another Game Boy Advance game. that is really fun, and it's a beat 'em up. It's like Double Dragon or Final Fight or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's based off a licensed property, but it's actually pretty good. This is Jackie Chan Adventures for the Game Boy Advance, based off the cartoon.
It looks good.
I'll see if we can get the screenshots and stuff in here too. But it's basically, it looks like an episode of the cartoon, but yeah, it's really just kind of like running through levels, jumping, kicking, collecting stuff. It's got the great tagline, "Are you Chan enough?" But yeah, it's something that I found myself playing like a lot. Like I think I might have got it for Christmas or something at one point. Just because, I'm a Jackie Chan guy. Not that I watch the cartoon a ton, but it's the cartoon.
A little bit of the cartoon.
Yeah. But it's a really fun game. I just remember playing it a lot because it's just a really good like side-scrolling beat 'em up kind of thing, and it's very Double Dragon-y. And I remember I actually played a lot of it on my Game Boy Player. On the TV. Yeah. I used to play by the time I got a Game Boy Player, I was playing just most of my Game Boy Advance stuff on the TV, because why wouldn't I? Because I bought that Hori SNES controller. Which is an incredible controller. I actually I should dig it out and show it off someday if people have never seen it. Because it's an officially like licensed by Hori, who made like really good peripherals for the Cube.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would play a lot of this. I played a lot of that's where I played Golden Sun 2 was on there. Even like Pokemon and stuff I would play on there. But yeah, super fun beat 'em up game. Again, you can probably find a copy of this for cheap. I can't imagine this game's worth a lot. Just because I don't know who the hell would want it. But play it online real easy, I'm sure.
About you, Matt?
I recommend Tunic. If you haven't tried it out,
should go back to. Yeah.
It really is a lot of fun. I need to go back and try to finish it up, but I bought the collector's edition on Switch when it dropped from Best Buy. So I think when I originally started playing it, I started playing it on Xbox. So I think I'm gonna go back. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till the Switch 2 comes out and then grab one of those. Or I honestly, I kind of feel like I'm just gonna grab a regular Switch and just kind of run the games I have, picking up dust so I can just clear them out of my thing. Because like we said, I mean, getting a Switch 2 is not going to be easy. So
it's going to be challenging.
Fight? Yeah, for sure. So I mean, why wait another year and a half, 2 years before I can find one, and I could just play the games that I want to play right now. But yeah,
Agreed.
Tunic is a solid visual. I like the music in it, was really good too. The character is the fox is just, he's a really cool looking guy. It plays like a Zelda game essentially.
Yeah,
and
an old school Zelda.
It's just a lot of fun. I think if you like that kind of thing and you just kind of want to change up from like character wise, I think he's a good character to pick.
Yeah. In keeping with things light, because it just feels like it's been a light 2 weeks. We can kick over to movies and TVs. I don't think any of us have a lot. I haven't.
Not at all.
Like for me personally, I haven't watched anything. Movie wise, we're in this weird like rut where there's like movies, like there's stuff coming out, but it's kind of like playing a waiting game to see what hits. Video on demand. There's not even like even movies that are out in the theater. Like I'm not going to go see Snow White or anything like that. But I'm kind of playing with him back in my mind of like maybe I use the free tickets I have to go see that Jason Statham movie next weekend. So might do that. I might do that.
Beekeeper 2, right?
That's the first. Yes, it's basically Beekeeper 1.5.
Yeah.
So that's literally what it is. The same director too. But that's like the first movie that has come out this year where I'm like, I feel like that would probably be okay to go see in a theater, because there's just been a lot where I've looked at, I'm like, I know this will be up in 2 weeks. I don't need to pay for this. So
yeah, for sure.
So the only things that I have, like I can tell you without spoiling anything, that Daredevil continues to be fantastic. And continues to develop its story, but again, I can't really go further than that without spoiling stuff.
Yeah, don't. I started over. Yeah,
so and to keep it there, like Dan, you've started from the beginning, just
right.
And I I can't disagree with that
I'm
decision
halfway
because
through the first season. Yeah,
I
Not
can't
at all.
disagree with that decision because, like I said, there is no recap when this thing starts. It's
And
just like,
it's
hey,
been
it's 7
so
years later.
long, and like the original series is fantastic. So I was like, why don't I just watch the whole?
And there's
thing?
enough. I feel like they've gotten away from it now. We're through what, episode 4? I feel like they've gotten away from like making callbacks to the earlier seasons, but the first episode specifically, there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, I don't remember this fucking.
My
person
other
from a
hope is
decade
that
ago.
by the time I get caught up, this
Yeah.
season will be done, and I'll just be able to
That
watch
probably,
the whole fucking
I would
thing
say,
in a row.
I would say probably.
Yeah.
That's solid. Yeah.
Because that's the other thing that sucks about it too is like each episode will end in a way where I'm like, oh, I gotta wait a week. So they're firing off 2 episodes of it next week though, which is really
Ooh.
weird. So makes me think there's something that happens
Yep.
where they didn't want people to wait a week. So the only other thing that I've really watched or devoted time to would be I continue to peck through Poltergeist: The Legacy, which I find it interesting more and more as I watch that show, the parallels between it and the Friday the 13th show, in the sense that it's a show that they took the name of a popular movie franchise, but it has nothing to do with that movie at all. There's nothing to do with Poltergeist in this show, same way. And it's almost a similar type show in the sense of, in this show, they're searching for entities around the world and trying to destroy them. In the Friday the 13th show, it was artifacts. Because in that show, it was like, hey, it's these 2 cousins that go to visit their uncle. He has a vault where they had all these like evil artifacts, and the vault got broken into. All these artifacts are out in the world. They have to go out and get them. Again, had nothing to do with Friday the 13th. However, I don't know if you know about that show. The original plan, because it's a show that got canceled before they finished the story, the original plan was the final artifact was going to be a hockey mask.
Oh, interesting.
So they were going to try and tie in Jason. This show though, they're still like, it's fucking weird. It's gotten weird. I'm not going to go into it in too much depth, but I was telling Matt before we started recording, like, as someone who, I'd say one of my big like movie childhood traumas is the Indiana Jones Temple of Doom feast scene where they're eating all the crazy stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just not like, if today I skip that, I don't watch that scene.
Wow.
I just no, like, you can rip that dude's heart out all day, I don't care, but that scene with them eating, like, cutting the snake up, I can't do
Yeah.
I will go as far as, like, if we were watching a cooking show and they're cooking snake, I'm out.
Wow.
I skip it. I'm not about it. Like, it just bothers me. And that's all from that stupid fucking movie. But in this show, there is an episode where this guy is possessed, and the way that he is possessed, and when he gets possessed, he is told to go kill like real world leaders. So that's the whole point. They're trying to track this guy down and kill him. The way he handles his possession, or he gets like his mission, is he will put a tarantula in his mouth.
Ugh.
He will let the tarantula bite his tongue and inject the venom into his tongue, and then he eats the tarantula. And so there's a point in this episode, and I'm sitting there because I watch
a better way to do that.
There's a better way to do that, yeah. I'm sitting here and I'm watching. I watch the show. I'm like doing dishes and stuff, and there's a point where the other guy that's trying to infiltrate, he's trying to get that guy to take his place. So it is like a scene of this guy trying to shove a tarantula in this dude's mouth. I'm like, I'm not having it. I took the iPad, I like turn it around. I'm like, I don't even want to see this.
I kind of want to see that episode.
It is in the middle of season 2. So, right. But other than that, if you take that episode outside of it, it's a fantastic show. It's just really weird. And it's these people running around. Like I said, they're fighting different entities. Each episode's different. Some of them are pretty unique. Special effects are hit or miss. Sometimes they look cool. Sometimes it's real 90s early CG jank. So, but it's a cool show. I really wish there was an updated like HD version of it. So, because it's what I'm watching, I would assume are like DVD quality. So it'd be a little rough. But that's it. Like, I haven't watched. Hopefully, we talked about it a little bit this week. I am going to make an attempt because I've never seen any of those movies from beginning to end. I've only ever seen clips. And we just passed through St. Patrick's Day. I've never seen any of the Leprechaun movies.
That was so weird to me when you told me that.
Yeah,
like,
you were like, what?
How is that? I've
never seen any of them. I've seen, clips and stuff that I've laughed at over the years, but never, mostly probably Back to the Hood. It's probably the one I've seen the most clips of, but I've never seen any of them. I didn't know there were that many. I thought there was only like 2. There's 7. So I'm going to make my way through that. So hopefully next time we record, I can talk about that. So, do you have anything, Dan?
No, I mean, I like I said, started that Daredevil thing over. I love that. Daredevil is my second favorite Marvel character, like by far, and like the fact they ever made a show of him was incredible to me.
It's important, yeah. Like that's a show where they handle the character.
They fucking nailed it, and the thing I like about it too is we get flashbacks of the origins, like of the accident and like him and his dad, and all the stuff that's important, but we don't dwell on it for like an entire fucking episode, or like or like it doesn't take 3 episodes to get to the point where he is Daredevil. He's just Daredevil to start. Like he doesn't have his costume and stuff. He's doing the stuff with like the black suit and the mask, which is something he did in the comics for a long time. So they kind of hit the ground running, and then like the slow burn is the introduction of like Fisk, and then like how that all plays out. So just starting that over to watch it so I can catch up on it, because like we talked about, it's been 7 years.
It's been 7 years, and like I told
probably
you,
time to rewatch
it. There's no catch up. There's none of that when you start this new season. And like the first episode, there's a lot of stuff they reference. So I'm like, I don't remember this from that long ago.
Right.
So
that's a bad way to do it.
Especially when you're calling back to season 1. That's not 7 years ago. That's a decade ago.
Right. Yeah,
so like it's a long time ago.
My kids weren't even born yet. And then the only other thing is like I told you, I found a good YouTube channel, which is basically just a 24/7 live stream of Super Nintendo games, which is somebody like
that's pretty good.
It just like they play through one, dope. Beat it, and it flips to the next one. Play through one, beat it.
Are they just archives of like somebody's streams, or
I don't even know what it is, because like there's nobody playing it. Like you don't see anybody. There's no
just
commentary.
The game being played.
It's just the game being played. Like I watched it the other day, and it was like, I was doing something else, and it was like, what was it? It was Super Star Wars into Star Fox into. And then there was the other day, there was like Punch Out. When Punch Out was over, it started playing Turtles in Time. There's no commentary. There's no nothing. It's just like the games are just being played through.
So you're telling me maybe I should take a break from the Venice Beach camera?
Yeah, it's just kind of a cool thing, especially like to have in the background, because you can like look over it and just be like, oh, and it's pretty much been solid games. I would love for every once in a while for them to put on like some dumbass Super Nintendo game that's just like nobody ever played.
Rise of the Robots.
Just something dumb to break it up and not just be
Home Improvement.
The main stuff. Yeah, that'd be great. Toys with Robin Williams.
There you go. That's a good,
yeah, it's just something like that. So like I put that on in the background when I'm playing Assassin's Creed or whatever, something like that. But that's pretty much. I haven't watched any movies. Nothing's been like interesting to me.
We're in a weird time.
I watch a lot of like TV shows weekly on Hulu and stuff, but it's nothing that anybody gives a shit about.
Like you and I, like we were talking earlier today, like you and I watch Top Chef. I don't think people want to hear us talk about Top Chef.
No,
so
that's we can start our whole separate Top Chef rewatch podcast,
right? Hell yeah!
Where you can go all the way back,
Kitchen Nightmares,
all the way back to season 1. Yeah, we'll sprinkle in some.
I'm caught up on that.
We'll sprinkle in some of that, some bar rescues.
Hell yeah!
And yeah, we'll just do that. That'll be what's done when we moved on from this.
I like Chopped.
Hey man,
Chopped is a weird show to go back and watch. Not to get into it, but like to watch like the first couple seasons compared to what it is now, almost completely different.
Because we are so we're watching it from the beginning, and we have been for months now because it is 60 seasons. We're on season 25.
Yeah.
But I made the mistake one day because it's all on HBO. And I made the mistake one day of like I clicked the wrong volume, and like when you're watching the early seasons of the show to jump like 10 years into the future,
early seasons
everybody's older,
4x3.
Yeah, it's just like this, like what? Because it was one of those things where I sat back, I'm like, what did I do? Like what happened? Yeah. And I realized like, oh, I'm on the wrong volume. So, but yeah, that's been a long journey.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
Yeah. So when you were talking about Poltergeist: The Legacy, I was thinking to myself, a show I should go back and try to find is the Exorcist TV show.
Yeah,
I didn't mind those. I don't remember the second season. I remember the first season pretty well, but I kind of want to go back and find them.
I should look for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Exorcist. That's a good like. Are you talking about that recent, like maybe maybe in the last 10 years?
Yeah, this one's
2016.
2016 premiered.
Okay,
Yeah,
I never watched that when it was on.
I watched it. It was actually solid. It was. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest, but it was entertaining.
Because it always reminded me of what was that show that it was on Fox and it was like based on Sleepy Hollow.
It was called Sleepy Hollow, bro.
Was it called Sleepy Hollow? But there was the one where like you and I had sat down to watch something else, and they did a thing where it was like, well, here's everything that happened in season 1 of that show, and then it got canceled. But like they told you the entire story. It's like, well, I never have to watch that show now.
Yeah, we were watching.
I don't remember
something.
what we were watching, but it was like the kind of thing where I'm like, wow, they just told me everything.
Maybe we were
happened.
watching like SmackDown or something while that was on
something,
Fox
yeah,
or whatever. And yeah, but I remember that like did a recap. They were like, wow, I never have to watch. I never have to watch it.
And I think it was before they said like, oh, we canceled this because it didn't get another season. But
yeah,
it was
That's
one.
wild.
I remember that now.
That show was weird. I remember watching the first episode and it was kind of fucked up. And for whatever reason, I've always got that show mixed up with that Exorcist show. So, but yeah, I should. I never watched it. I should watch that show.
It wasn't bad. I thought it was entertaining.
Okay.
But since we were on the subject of Jackie Chan, I watched Panda Plan. That's his most recent.
The one we discovered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because in all of Jackie Chan's movies, he's referred to as Jackie, which is fine. Like, you know, they kind of really trying to.
There's a couple here and there where they don't, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, in this one, which is really strange, he is Jackie Chan, the movie star,
right?
But he doesn't know how to like physically fight. So like.
That's weird.
Because he's like,
I get it.
He knows how to fight some, but he's not like a martial artist Jackie Chan.
Right.
He's more like I learned some stunt choreography, but I'm an action star Jackie Chan. And he's actually referred to as Jackie Chan, the movie star.
I get it.
Which is kind of strange because I was like, okay, that was interesting. But the whole purpose is he adopts a panda in the zoo. And he's going to hang out with this panda, and essentially the panda is trying to get kidnapped, and that's where Jackie comes into this whole thing. It's a Jackie Chan movie, man. Like, it's really, if you're a fan of his, you'll enjoy it. Like, the CGI is horrible. The panda looks bad, but that's just how that CGI always looks realistically. Like, I don't think the CGI is ever going to look like spot on fantastic.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching it. I didn't think anything horrible of it. I thought it was entertaining. It was another Jackie Chan movie, and I'll continue to watch him until he rolls over and dies, and because he fell off a building somehow. So I mean,
that would be
And I mean, he still does a couple of stuff in like stunt wise in this movie, which is still kind of like, man, you're up there in age. Up there, like,
yeah.
Like, you're gonna get kind of brittle eventually, dude. Like, but yeah, it was fun. It was a fun little film. And then the one that I guess everybody talks about, Captain America: A Brave New World. I saw it. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like my favorite.
It's not your favorite thing, yeah.
Yeah, not my favorite thing, but I kind of feel like that's how it's been recently for a lot of these Marvel movies. They've just been Marvel movies. Like, it's a Marvel movie, but that's really it,
like,
you know?
It's gone. I wouldn't say like it hasn't like completely died or anything, but it's starting to carve out almost like its own niche now.
Almost.
Not, I mean, like as big of a cultural impact.
Yeah,
as it once was.
I do like Anthony Mackie as Captain America. I think he played it as best as he could. I just don't think the story of it
I don't
really
think he's
fit
the problem with that
well.
movie from everything that I've seen.
Not at all.
It's more of the script he was given and the way they wrote it is kind of
yeah. I mean, aside from that, I really do feel like he plays Captain America well. So I mean, I'm okay with him being it. It's just that the movie itself was just kind of like blah.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't the greatest. So I mean, interesting to see where it leads to and where it takes us. But I mean, if you want to see it, then that's definitely your option.
Yeah. We can kick.
But that's all I've seen.
Yeah, we can kick over to emails. Yeah, light week for that stuff, but hopefully next time we record. Like I said, I probably will. I think I will go see that Jason Statham movie. I really want to. So
I mean, it's a Statham movie. That's like seeing Fast and Furious 11. We're all gonna watch it.
We're all gonna watch it. I mean, I feel kind of bad that because I've seen The Beekeeper probably like 4 or 5 times, and I feel like I should have went to the theater to see that movie. I feel bad that I didn't, because I feel like I should have experienced that.
For sure.
We'll go ahead. We'll kick into the emails we got here. So the first email we got comes to us from Carrie from Saratoga Springs, Vermont. Hi, dudes. Enjoyed the talk last week surrounding the THPS 3 and 4 announcement. I'm a big fan of the franchise myself. I'm curious where you guys think they go from here, and would you want to see them do a brand new Tony Hawk game? Should they call it 6? Should they just simply call it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? Hell, should his son take the top spot in the title? I don't think you can put out Riley Hawk's Pro Skater until Tony Hawk is retired.
I think you could call it Hawk's Pro Skater or something like that. I don't think you could simply move it to him, just because I don't feel like his name is as big as Tony Hawk's name will ever. His name will never be as big, but like he's a big name.
He's a big name in the skateboarding world, and like he's very good.
Maybe
as well.
Hawk's Pro Skater I could see work, because it's then it can be both of them on the cover.
Yeah,
and then from that point on, we can go into whatever you want. That's kind of like the passing of the torch name. I wouldn't call it 6 just because 5 is a dumpster fire.
I don't think that you even though there is part of me that would think it would be cool to continue numbering them. I don't think you can, because I think 5 was such a disaster.
You don't want to remind people that 5 exists.
I think the smartest move is to just call it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and like
I think it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and then subtitle. I think we just go back to subtitles and stuff. Not Project 8 bullshit like that, but you either do that, or I think we talked about it before. Like, I think there's room for Tony Hawk's Underground and restart the series.
Tony Hawk's Underground
and just 3. Call it Underground. I don't even think you'd make it 3. I think you would just
Underground.
Tony Hawk's Underground. Yeah. Or New Underground or something like that, where like it implies that it's not a remake of the first one, but it's not 3. It's something else. Because
that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, so like Tony Hawk's New Underground, I think is a perfect name. And then it just works, and you can make it whatever you want, but it can be the get off the board, run around, explore kind of thing.
I agree.
People are upset is missing from 4, but we talked about like it kind of makes sense that it's missing from 4.
It's it's upsetting that they're cutting that out from that game, but I understand it. And in the context of a now collection where it's like we've done 1, 2, 3, and 4, to me it's not that big of a deal, because the other 3 games are not that way.
Yeah, this is meant to be like its own subsection now.
Yeah.
But now that this is done, and 3 and 4 is probably going to sell like crazy.
If you were doing them separately, then I can understand.
Then there's no excuse, because then you're remaking both games separately.
Exactly.
I think Tony Hawk's New Underground would be good, or Hawk's Pro Skater.
That would make sense. Yeah.
If you want to pass the torch. But I don't think they'll ever take Tony Hawk's name off of it in some.
You like the old Giant Bomb idea of doing a God of War type game with the Hawks? So him and his son called the Hawks. And I remember somebody made like a fake cover. I should try and dig it up where it's them, and then it has Tony Hawk in the corner saying, "Boy, do a 900."
Yeah, I remember that now,
and that was pretty good. We can move on to the next email here. Grant from Danville, Kentucky. Howdy, guys. I'm curious, we are about 2 weeks out from the Switch 2 reveal direct. Any predictions you guys have? Anything that you would like to see? I mean, I feel like I beat it over people's heads all the time, but I want to see improved backwards compatibility with these other games. Like, that is the hope. And like seeing that thing for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I believe it's real. I would like to see more of that with some of these Switch games. And again, I don't expect them to go all the way back to launch titles, but like Tears of the Kingdom would be a big one. Where I'd like to see that run at 60.
I would like to see ideally docked 4K.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Obviously we're not getting in handheld, but I want docked 4K, or I want docked 1080 60. I would take the trade-off, just because I don't feel like the games that I'm playing on Switch necessarily have to be 4K.
No, like
the games that I'm playing the Switch for, like the cartoony Mario style games, those are going to look plenty damn good in 1080. And if the trade-off is that they're running at 60, then I'll take it.
Yeah, very much.
I think so. I mean, we'll see more of it on the second, but I hope that by changing the way these Joy-Cons connect, they lock in place better.
Yeah, I hope they actually hold on, because like just magnets kind of makes me think
it's a little scary, but yeah. I hope they're strong enough that they don't cause an issue.
I've seen what kids do to stuff, man. Can I grab it? Because like you can take a Switch and with the controllers locked on and hold it like this.
Yeah.
Can I do that with this?
Well, I just saw so I was looking at Nintendo. I was like just kind of like looking over the website and all, and there's a button on the back that you have to press to release them.
I know, but like even still, like those buttons and the slide things.
First time I dropped it,
fucking easy.
So like in the first month.
If I drop this Switch with the magnet things, where it's gonna fucking pop off the sides and never go back.
Oh god, yeah.
So like, who knows what's gonna happen? Like, I would hope that there are design upgrades to the hardware to make it function better.
Yeah.
Like I would hope that they've learned their mistakes. Like that flimsy stand on the back doesn't work.
No, I
never had two of them. Wouldn't that have been crazy to have two on both sides?
It kind of seems like they fixed that with the OLED Switch. So.
Yeah, but it's just like I'm talking about like design things from the beginning where now we're going back to these aren't Switch lights that are one thing. These are back to popping controllers on and off.
Yeah.
And so we'll see about that. Like we talked about with like the cartridge design, I want to know how we're planning to lock it out from the old one, because people are going to try to put them if there's no notch, people are going to try to put them in Switches, because a lot of it's going to be parents buying shit that don't know better.
Grandma and grandpa aren't going to pay attention.
They don't know the difference, and if the cases need to be different. I swear to God, if these cases come out for these games and they're the same fucking size, they should be the same size. I'm not saying change the size. They need to be white on the side or some other color that's not even close to. And you can't use blue or green, and it can't be red. Purple's okay, but I think it's too close to red. So I think you have to go the other way and make it like white or yellow or something, and do that. But please, God, make the cases the same size. I swear to God, if you change these,
it's like 2 inches bigger.
Yeah, well, you know how they are. It'll be like, well, we made it because we don't put manuals in it anymore. It's a half-inch thinner, or something dumb like that, where they could save money on it. So now
it's
on your
somehow
shelves,
smaller than a DS and 3DS.
They're not going to line up anymore. Right? It's just going to be like, God damn it, dude.
That's a good one.
I would like to see a launch title that is interesting. That's not Mario Kart 9.
It's a good point.
It doesn't have to be Mario. It doesn't have to be Zelda. It doesn't have to be whatever. It needs to be something else.
I would
Mario
hope
Kart is
that
Mario Kart.
I don't know when the last time you've loaded up the eShop on the Switch, but I hope that it runs better on a Switch too.
It's a little messy.
It's bad now. Like just trying to go through like, hey, there's this sale.
Dude. It's so slow.
It's so slow now because there's just so many games. Like
it's full of
when
garbage.
The system launch, it wasn't that big of a deal, but today to go and try and find something on there, like even at this point, like I avoid, like even if they were like, okay, you can get a demo for this game on there, I don't even do that because it's just such a pain in the ass.
You know what I want on the eShop and / virtual console?
GameCube games.
I want to be able to buy individual retro games.
I would like that too.
I don't like the subscription thing. Fine, whatever.
I get it.
It's $20 a year. It's not a big deal. But man, just let me buy games.
Well, unless you want Game Boy Advance, then it's $50.
Well, that's the problem. I don't want that, but I would like to buy. Because we were talking about Golden Sun and stuff, whatever. It is on there. But I didn't think about it because I'm not paying $50 a year to be able to access those games. But if you would let me buy those games for $30 combined and keep them forever.
I don't understand why they don't do both, because they would make more money. I know Nintendo's a company that doesn't care about that,
but both models are okay.
If
you can have the subscription base and me being able to buy it. That's what Game Pass is.
Yeah.
Let me buy the games.
Because I would rather, because like I don't want a subscription to. I don't want to pay for the $50 one just to play Game Boy Advance games, but if you put those up individually, like $10, $15, depending on what it is.
If they put Pokemon Fire Red for sale digitally, they could charge $40 for that.
People would do it.
And sell millions.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand. Like, they're sitting on a gold mine of old games, and they half-ass it all the time. And even when they did like sell you those games on like the Wii and the Wii U, it was still half-assed.
Do you think if they announced GameCube games, do you think that that's locked behind the higher tier?
Oh, absolutely.
You think so?
If anything, I could see them being like, all right, we took the 64 games out and put them on the base tier because there's only 6 of those games any of you give a shit about anyway.
Yeah.
But the GameCube stuff, premium.
Yeah,
but again,
I can see it.
Let me buy them. You could charge $50 for digital GameCube games. People would buy them.
We'll buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, I don't... obviously they're smarter than anyone else is about like the market trends and whatever. But like as a consumer, as someone who's sold these games for years, Pokemon games will sell at premium prices till the end of time.
Yeah.
If you gave someone an easy way right now to buy Pokemon Emerald on Switch and have it downloaded to that console, and they wouldn't have to connect to the online service to play it, oh my God, they would pay $50.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the thing is, you don't even have to update it. You could say, we took trading and stuff out. There's no online component of it all. Because remember, like you could just trade stuff with the... Now we don't even let you do that. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Nobody cares.
No. But yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to finally get to it. It feels like it's been such a long road. And a console that we probably should have had 2 years ago at this point, but
for sure.
I mean, think about it. Would this would probably be Nintendo's longest generation, right? 8 years. It's got to be.
I mean, I worked at GameStop when it came out.
When it came out, right? Yeah. I would just say, like, it's longer than even the 360 era. It's longer than the Xbox One era. Like, it's because those were 7 years. So
we was what 06?
Till 2012 I want to say because that was when that was about 6. So yeah, this has to be their longest era. And like I said, I think COVID screwed a lot of things up. I don't think that would have. I think if we didn't have COVID, I think you would have seen the system a year or two earlier.
Yeah, because manufacturing got fucked up.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Next email we have comes to us from Brad from Provo, Utah. Hopefully I said that right. Hey, 572 crew, been enjoying you all making recommendations. I just discovered I've gotten into what's known as the Metroidvania genre. My first dive into this was Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which I enjoyed from beginning to end. I've not played any of the Castlevania games in this style, and this is a completely new genre for me. What would you recommend? And when it comes to those, should I go all the way back and play the original Symphony of the Night, or is there one that came after it that you would recommend more? So I mean, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night's a good game to start with.
Fantastic game to start with.
My recommendation would be like maybe play a different franchise Metroidvania before jumping into Castlevania, only because it'll be very similar to Bloodstained.
Especially like if you wanted to go to Symphony of the Night, like Symphony of the Night and Bloodstained are very similar games.
I mean, I would also tell you straight up, that is the best of those. Like even with the 6 others that they made after it, Symphony of the Night would still be the one I would say like you should go play that, but you should play some other Metroidvania games and then go play that. Because playing it right after Bloodstained, it's going to be too similar. So the one, unfortunately, Matt, you wrote it down, but I'm going to have to say it because it's one of my favorites, and that is Rogue Legacy. There are Rogue Legacy 1. There is a sequel to it that I actually currently went back to that really, really expands upon it, but I would make the argument you should play the first one first. The thing that's cool and different about that versus like some of the other things that we're going to recommend is the castle is procedurally generated. So it changes every time that you play the game. With that being said, it's a game that was made in 2013. So you're going to see like rooms that are repeated. They're just put in different places. But it is a fantastic, fantastic game. When it came out, I think at some point I played it on every platform. Dan remembers, like I played that on Steam when it came out. I wouldn't shut up about it. Yeah, when we got those stupid PC steelbooks, remember when they were doing those?
Those were really fucking cool. It's just like one of the dumbest things GameStop's
that
ever
was
tried to do.
The only physical version of that game they had for a long time till limited run did it.
Yeah.
Incredible game, and the sequel is very good as well. But if you were gonna play those, I would start with the first one. I'll leave you have the other two that you wrote down, Matt, because that one I had to mention specifically. For as far as like the Metroid aspect of it, I've never been a huge Metroid person. I was always more of a Castlevania person. So I don't really have a recommendation on the Metroid side of things. I do really want to play that Dread game, the Metroid Dread game. So that's high on my list to play. But I haven't really dived into it. Other stuff that's like in that genre that's
steal mine.
Good.
Don't steal mine.
I don't.
I didn't write it down. Never mind.
You didn't write it down, so I don't know if I can steal it.
Don't steal it.
I will try not to. I know what yours is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention.
Okay.
I know exactly what yours is.
Yeah, you know what it is.
No, I had to think about it for a second. Yeah, no, it's a good one. The only other one that I would mention, because everybody else has a really good one that I think, and this is a genre that's been well expanded upon, and there's so many games now in it, whereas like 10 years ago it was kind of the new thing, and I feel like in the last decade it's really blown up, and now there's a lot of different examples of Metroid. Yeah, it's become a really big thing. The other one that I would mention that I really like that's a little bit different, neither of you are going to have this written down, is that Salt and Sanctuary game. And I would recommend that one specific because it's kind of like a mix between Metroidvania but also Dark Souls. So, but it does it really, really well. So, very, very cool game. I'm gonna let you two have the other cool ones though. So I'll let you go first, because I know exactly what it is.
Okay, yeah, my favorite Metroidvania game, and like I'm not even that big of a fan of the genre. Like Kyle knows, like I haven't played a lot of Castlevania stuff. Bloodstained is probably the one I've ever like beaten and putting the most time into. But my favorite Metroidvania game is Guacamelee. Like that game is incredible. I don't know why. Like as someone who's not a fan of the genre, I don't know. That game hooked me immediately. And it's a lot of like the style is just incredible. It's really fun. It controls incredibly well. Basically, Guacamelee is like you play as like a luchador who dies and is brought back to like basically run through this giant world of Metroidvania type stuff and beat all these different bosses, which are all very interesting. You could turn into a chicken at one point. There's a lot of the combat is wrestling moves, so it's literally like grabbing and throwing people and making combos. I also recommend, and I don't normally do this unless like trophies or something necessarily required, but I played that game on hard the first time through, and while that game is hard on hard, something about it made it feel more rewarding because like you get to certain rooms in that game where it's like you got to kill 20 guys in like 30 seconds, and it's basically packed out. You have to do it a certain way, and it's muscle memory type stuff, but it's so good. I played that game like multiple times, and then by now, I played it back when it came out. Now they've got like all these like super editions of it with like extra playable characters.
There was a second one
too. But I would highly recommend playing the first one. And I think now it's like called like Super Turbo Challenge Edition or something like that. Fantastic game. Fantastic.
So I mean, I haven't played through much of these, but Dead Cells was really solid.
Dead Cells is that would have been the other one I would have mentioned, but like I'm not going to steal both of yours.
Well, I appreciate you. I do have Rogue Legacy, and I do need to get back to it.
Awesome.
But Dead Cells is the one that I play a good bit on my Switch, and one I just started playing was Blasphemous. I think that's how you say that.
Yes, and there's a sequel to that one too. I haven't played yet.
I haven't gotten far into that one, but and that's the thing about it, man. I just kind of lose interest, and I need to kind of go back and like pick it back up. But it was fun when I played it. I mean, I like those games, and I like the fact that when you die, you kind of have to just like start over and like kind of make through your progression.
Blasphemous has a really cool art style to it as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. But I mean, I either one of those. I mean, I haven't picked up Bloodstain, but again, I'm not huge into Metroidvania games, but the ones that I have played that like I've gotten recommendations from you guys on, have been like solid titles. So, and I have Guacamelee.
Yeah, Bloodstained is just really good. I don't know. I kickstarted that game. I don't know why. I was just
you kickstarted. I didn't kickstart it because I knew it would make it.
No, I knew it would make it.
It's one of those where I'm like, I don't need to, but you got that cool steelbook. But yeah, it's slip covers. That's it. There was a steel because I have a steelbook, but you had a slip cover.
There's a slip cover says Kickstarter edition.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, it's just, Bloodstained was a really, really, really cool game that it basically is Symphony of the Night 2 because we're never gonna get it, even though we have a very successful anime based on Castlevania that they made a sequel series to that has also been successful. That franchise, for whatever reason, in the game space, is dead to them, unless they want to make DLC for another game. So,
fuck it.
I don't get
Make Bloodstained 2 with Castlevania DLC.
There you go. But yeah, I think those are all solid recommendations for that genre.
You want a dark horse candidate?
Okay.
Because I maintain, and you agree, and most people do
it.
Batman Arkham Asylum is a Metroidvania game.
If you want to go from a 3D perspective,
if you've never played that and you like the concept of how a Metroidvania game works, that game is a Metroid, and not Arkham City is not, but Arkham Asylum is.
No, it's not. Yeah, Arkham City definitely is much more open world, but Arkham Asylum is very.
You're
much
on a
3D.
very straight line. You get new gadgets. You can go back to old places. It works.
Yes.
If you, for some reason you've never played that and you like the way a Metroidvania game plays.
And works.
That is a great example.
Like how it's laid out. Yeah.
It's a great example of what a 3D version of that genre can look like.
Absolutely. Next email we have comes to us from John from Richmond, Virginia. Hi, crew. This question is probably more for Kyle, but I followed the channel and this podcast for some time now, and is surprised I haven't heard you speak of the new Mercury Steam game, Blades of Fire. Curious if you've seen it at all. It has some major Castlevania vibes to it, but it seems like it's going to be its own IP. Any thoughts on this, and are you going to check it out? It looks really cool. Guess it's more of a game recommendation, but the game's not out yet. So I have seen this actually. So if for people that don't know, Mercury Steam are the people that made Lords of Shadow 1 and 2. They also more recently they were the people behind Metroid Dread. I don't know if you know that, but
did they make
kind of crazy
3DS versions of some of that stuff?
They also made the 3DS Metroid 2.
Okay.
And they also made the Lords of Shadow Castlevania game for 3DS, which was fine. But yeah, so this game, it comes out in May. I don't know if you've seen it. You craft your own weapons, which is kind of cool. But it has the combat of it is very similar to Lords of Shadow. I watched it because it was more one of those it was out of a curiosity. It was after one of those showcases in the last month or so where I was scrolling through my YouTube feed and I was like, what's this game? I don't know anything about it. And then I was surprised when the Mercury Steam logo came. I was like, boy, it's been a while since they've made something. And it looks cool. So I will say it is a game that I'm very interested in, and I probably will check it out when it comes out. So because it looks cool, and I believe it's out in May, and that's the right time for something in a year that
May 22nd.
Yeah, there's not too much crazy shit going on. So I will at least look at it. I'll check it out. And then I think, so our last email comes to us from Maggie from Sacramento, California. Hey guys, really enjoy when y'all talk movies and such. I'm curious what you think on the current state of the box office and if it's something that can maintain or do you think it will collapse? This year has been particularly brutal, and there hasn't been a single real winner at the box office this year thus far, which now that we are almost through March is pretty crazy. Not to mention they really pushed the idea of going to the theater to see movies this year at the Oscars. Do you think that this industry can survive, or is it going the way of the flip phone? Thanks, guys. I don't think
the flip phone did make a comeback.
It did. I mean, as far as that goes, there are people just tired of social media, so I don't blame them. Yep. But I think I'm the only one of the three of us here that watched the Oscars this year. So, and it was the first one I've watched in a couple years. But I will say, they really went hard a couple times of we really want to get people back in the theater and stuff like that. I mean, Conan even made a joke of they did a whole skit where it was hey, I got this new invention where I took your cell phone and I taped 3,000 of them together in this huge screen in this building you go to, and everybody sits down for that. That was well done, but I I think the biggest thing that's killing that industry right now, and we've talked about it a little bit in the past here on the podcast, is the window is too short because of COVID.
It's crazy short. It's far too short.
Like there are some movies that I'll give a perfect example. The Monkey. The Monkey came out in February, and I had to look it up the other day because I'm like, man, that movie should be out on digital right now. April 4th.
Yeah.
2 months. Like that, like right there. If I would have known that, I probably would have went to the theater to see The Monkey.
Well, but here's the other thing, though. So, like, you're talking about like 2 months for that to come to digital is a long time now.
It's a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
9 months, a year.
9 months
to come to like video. I remember, I worked at a Game Crazy inside of Hollywood Video. It was a big deal when a movie was coming out on DVD and you could actually fucking go rent it. Because sometimes it would be a year. Now it's like, if I'm mildly interested in it, I'll wait for it on digital. I go see every Marvel movie because I'm a dumbass. Like, that's the only reason. I knew going into Captain America, like, this is going to be okay at best. I knew going into Kraven and Venom, these are going to suck. Like, but I still went to like go see a movie with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Like movies, and the biggest problem is like none of these movies coming out are things that are like interesting to the masses, which are the people that are gonna help the movie make money. The whole point of movies is blockbuster movies. Like, remember what that used to be? The whole thing was summer blockbusters. Like, we've got Mission Impossible coming. We're gonna go, but it's not gonna be anywhere near what it used to be.
I think the only thing that will pull a larger audience than the last one, because remember, it was weird because Top Gun pulled in a huge audience, but remember also, that is the only movie in recent memory that took almost 8 to 9 months to come out digitally because they kept it in the theater.
Right. And that's the only thing that's going to do it.
Mission Impossible, the last one, which a great movie, did not do very well at the box office.
It was dead while we were
this one I think will do better only because by all purposes, this is the last one with Tom Cruise is going to do.
Kind of has to be.
So I think it kind of has to be, but I think that standpoint, I think that will draw a larger crowd in, but I don't think it's going to be that much bigger than the last one.
The last like movies I can remember going to that were like packed was like the last Spider-Verse movie. That was packed.
That was the last one. That was the last one for sure.
There was hype for that because the first one was so good. It's not the 10th film in the franchise. It's the second one. There's a lot of factors about like what makes a good movie.
My area, it's a little bit different because in the town that I live in, the movie theater we had shut down. So your options are only go to the town left or the right from where I live. And so there was a period, and like I haven't seen a movie in the theater since Joker 2, which is sad. But
that's a while.
I mean, after that, you got to take a break for a while. So you have to recover from that. But there was a hot period where we were going to the theater over by us where like every movie we would go see was sold out. And a lot of that is just there's no theater in my town. So people are forced to go to a different one. Like I went in 2020, whatever year it came out, 2023, I went and watched that most recent Evil Dead movie in a packed theater. Mm-hmm. And that was crazy to me that was sold out.
But that's a movie where I think there is a decent amount of hype for it because it is a new version of an established franchise, which promises to push the boundaries of what it was. We're not talking about weird artsy movies, which are made for certain people to vote on for the Oscars or like crazy weird stuff where it's movies about like, dragon dildos and all this other shit where it's like, it's a gore porn movie or something. But there's different things, but like that's never going to make a lot of money.
I feel like more people probably went to the theater to see The Substance than Anora.
Right. So. But even then, that's not enough. And then it's on digital fucking immediately.
Yeah. Like that's the biggest fault now is everything. Like I look at it and will audibly go, I can wait 2 weeks.
Nosferatu's been on Peacock for weeks. Moana 2 has been on Disney Plus for weeks.
Like, I've been looking at a physical copy of Nosferatu for a month now.
But that's the
Wicked just dropped this past.
Wicked's been on Peacock.
Peacock.
This stuff is just going to streaming services incredibly fast.
So fast, yeah.
It's like we talked about it. Not that anybody gives a shit. Venom and Kraven are on Netflix already.
Yeah.
In 5 years ago, that never would have happened.
Never.
Like before,
5 years ago, none of this.
Pre-pandemic, no, God, no. It would have taken a year. Even if a movie sucked, it took a year.
They would
get on a streaming service.
They would leave that thing to rot and die in the theater for 3-4 months if it was a bad movie. They would just be like, "Wow, they're still playing this." Draw it out
for as long as they can. Hopefully, in the 12th week, they make $86.
Well, and I'll say this, and I mean, it's fun and it's very easy to shit on Snow White, but just going through and looking, because I sat and looked at the Fandango app where you can check seats, and I did that for today and tomorrow at the entire day, and like for showtimes in the town that you live in and the town that I live in, our two theaters. Yeah, there are some showtimes during the day where like there's some seats sold, but like peak times, no. There are like 7:30 o'clock showing when I looked earlier today. Nobody.
Yeah.
Like again, I know there's a huge controversy around that movie and stuff, but like normal people that don't pay attention to that and have kids are gonna go, "Hey, the new Disney remake of Snow White. Why wouldn't I take my kids to see that?"
I think
it's just not happening.
Your first banger's coming up. We talked about earlier. Minecraft will make a lot of money.
I think Minecraft's going to make a lot of money because it doesn't matter what that movie is or how it looks. It's called Minecraft.
Well, but again, I will say Inside Out 2 was actually pretty packed when I went to.
Inside Out 2, like
family
and
movies,
again,
I think are more of a thing because movies are more of like an event.
Mario had a shit ton of people when I went and saw that. Turtles.
Yeah.
When I went and saw Turtles, that was a packed house.
Look at that theme. Family stuff. Taking the family out to go do something.
Granted, I saw Turtles at a 10:30 Sunday morning show, but it got packed. So.
I saw Craven day of release, and there were 12 people in that fucking theater.
Yeah, I was thinking the staunch reality of seeing go back to when we saw Fast 6 in the theater, sold out.
Yeah,
like you could like literally just from front to back sold out. And then go back and think about how many people are in the theater for the most recent one we saw. Not counting 9 because that was during like vaccine time and not many people were going. But I'm talking about X. Not many people.
No.
Indiana Jones. Not many people.
No. Well, that was never going to do well. That was made for us.
That was but it's crazy. So especially I look at that theater in the town you live in that I used to live in, and like it's a big theater. It's pretty nice, and but 90% of the time we go see a movie there, it's dead. And I'm not going at like a weird time.
Is heavily populated.
Mm-hmm.
That theater has been severely upgraded.
Yeah.
Nobody's there.
Super nice seats and like everything you would want a modern theater to have. They have.
It's in a good location. It's been there forever.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows about it.
It's out. It's just it's crazy to me that most everything we go and see at that specific theater is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I don't think it's ever going to go away. I don't think the theaters, all of them are going to close up or anything like that. I don't think there's a world
where, like, if theaters went away, blockbuster movies are gone. Because
I think if anything, you're going to get to a point where the streaming bubble bursts. We're already starting to get there because there's too many services. Everybody's jacking their prices up. They're way too high. Like Netflix is $25 a month now, which is astronomical.
Yeah, that's insane.
And I know why. It's every time that they make a new acquisition, they jack it up. Like the most recent was Heaven Raw. So who's going to pay for that in the end? The consumer's going to pay. But
me.
You have, everything else that's been split off. Hulu used to be a fantastic thing. Now everybody wanted to do their own stupid streaming platform. That's why Peacock exists, and they had to strip all the NBC stuff. But then you'll have them do goofy shit. Like, look at what's happening. Like, prime example, and I know this gets into TV territory, but look at what's happening with Law and Order.
Yeah.
With that organized crime show, where now all of a sudden they're like, hey, this show that's been on TV for 3 years and 3 seasons, if you want to continue that show, cool. You got to get this streaming service.
Right.
And you can only watch it there. And guess what? Even though we own the rights to this TV show, it is our product. You can't watch the entire series on this streaming service.
Well,
which is fucking crazy.
Well, you get into like, you want to talk about just like
licenses,
how the streaming bubble has to burst. Is like, and like Raw is on Netflix. NXT is on the CW, so you better have a cable subscription or YouTube TV. Yeah. SmackDown's on Fox. You better have a subscription to that too.
You want to watch those pay-per-views?
You want to watch pay-per-views? Those are on Peacock.
Peacock, yeah.
But outside of this country, it's just all on fucking Netflix.
Right? Crazy.
Yeah, it's just none of the streaming stuff makes any sense. But with the fact that movies go to streaming so fast, and they're all split apart, and there doesn't even seem to be logic behind it anymore about where things go. Why are Sony Marvel movies ended up on Netflix? What the fuck is the
Wild West? It is the Wild West of stuff. But I think my prediction, what I think's gonna happen, is I think when the streaming bubble bursts, and we get to a point where some of these lesser services, like Netflix, is never going to go away. They're obviously the king.
They're number one.
They're the one that makes money. They're the only streaming service that makes money.
Hulu is Disney, so it's financially
Hulu
backed
is Disney.
Forever.
Yeah. So like, if anything, Disney Plus will go away, and they'll migrate all their content to Hulu. That's probably realistically what'll happen.
I think it's actually smarter if they do it the other way, because Disney is a brand name. Yeah,
I think that would be smart, but I don't know.
But it's weird. It's weird when you have access to both of those and you realize it's just a whole bunch of like. It's just the same shit.
I absolutely hate when I load up Disney Plus and I see Hulu stuff. It drives me insane.
That shouldn't be the top shit on here.
No, and I'm like, I'm here on Disney Plus for a specific reason, either to watch Daredevil or to watch old Simpsons episodes. I'm not here to see.
Now it's like they're putting out this Simpsons like 24/7 thing. It's like, can't I just subscribe to just that? How about I just give you $10 for just that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to happen is I think the bubble will burst, and I think when it does, that is the time where studios will step in, and they'll have that conversation, and then you'll finally get the extension of these releases in the theater longer.
That's what's going to. But it has to go back that way.
Streaming has to have that bubble burst before, because right now it's just too lucrative.
Mm-hmm.
These deals are too lucrative, and especially when you have movies that are going to be a commercial flop, and they know it ahead of time. It is way more lucrative for them to be like, well, we have a backup plan to put it on this streaming service because they paid us X amount of money already. So, but in order for it to work, that has to burst. And then I think you will go back to seeing like 2 to 3. I don't think it'll ever go back to 8-9 months. That's dead.
No.
But if you can have a sweet spot of like 2 to 3 months,
2 to 3, I would say 2 to 3 months for like regular movies, and then blockbuster stuff should be 4 to 6, something like that.
Like we were talking, like I guarantee, I would be shocked if that Minecraft movie is out in 2 weeks. I think that is one that stays.
It would kill, like it would kill it to be on digital in 2 weeks.
It would, because that's a movie kids want to see. I don't know who makes that movie. I don't know who
what streaming service is it going to end up on?
It depends on who's making it.
Because like Mario, how long did it take for Mario to hit Peacock? It took a while.
It didn't take as long as we thought, but it took long. Like it wasn't 2 weeks; it was like a month, I think.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, it's going to be on Peacock. So, and then now it's just it lives forever on Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's like in the top 10 movies watched every fucking day.
It's a good movie.
But that's just because kids are watching over and over.
It's a good movie.
I get it. But even Disney, I'll give another example. I'm surprised now. We are 6 weeks, like 5 to 6 weeks away from Captain America. How has that not hit digital?
I can't believe that's not on Disney Plus yet.
Like even on Disney Plus, like it is insane to me that hasn't hit digital. They haven't announced it.
We were talking about earlier. The toys are clearancing out.
Walmart is to the point where they want to give it away.
Target has shoved it all onto an end cap, and it's just like, here's all that we have of this. Please,
I'm shocked you don't buy something, then they're just like, here's a little Red Hulk guy in your bag. Have a good day, like just to get rid of it, because there's so much shit from that movie. But it is crazy to me that movie's not on digital yet. That's one I look at and go, okay, maybe they are going to hold, but what are they holding it for? So, did you look it up, Matt? Did you find anything about Minecraft? I don't know if you were even looking at it. I heard you clicking.
Yeah, so Minecraft is being made by Warner Brothers.
Okay, so it'd be HBO.
So,
yeah, Max.
So it'd be Max.
That'd be a Max jam. Okay.
So honestly, if it doesn't do well, I definitely feel like it's going to hit Max quick. Especially, I mean, I don't know, man. Like my kid was excited to go see it.
Okay.
Like he really was. He was like, "Dad, you know they're making a Minecraft movie?" And I was like,
he saw the trailer.
Yeah. He did. He saw the trailer and he was like, "I'm good." And I was
saw the villagers was like, what is that?
Yeah, he was like,
I'm out.
He was like, "Dad, that doesn't even look like Minecraft. Like, what do they do?" And I was like,
I will give them like when I saw the first trailer for it, I was out, and then the more recent one, I'm more into at least watching it when it's up. I wouldn't go to the theater, but What sold me was the guy coming out of the portal in the Nether, and they showed like one guy and he's like drawing something, and he's like, "What is that?" It's like, "Oh, I'm doing this creative thing," and he just kills him. That made me laugh, and I was like, "All right, like I'm kind of
in the Minecraft movie."
I laughed at that. I didn't laugh at Jack Black, which is insane. I love Jack Black, but I didn't laugh at him in that movie. I just look at him like, yeah, of course Jack Black's your fucking main protagonist. He's the video game guy. So
I just can't see it going well.
I think it'll do well, but I think it really depends on its first weekend. I think if it does very well, they'll keep it. If it doesn't, I could see it hit it. Now that we know it's Warner Brothers, we know where it's going to go. So
I mean, the budget was $150 million. So I mean,
there was a time.
Well, the plan on that is to make it back in toys and merch and everything else. The movie's a commercial more than anything else.
It is. I mean, don't you remember there was a time when the dude from It's Always Sunny was going to write and direct that?
Yeah.
And then he dropped out. So and that's been a long road to get to this movie. So, but yeah, I mean, to go back on the industry, I think I genuinely think that's what is going to happen, and that's what has to happen to get to a point of normalcy for movies again, and to get people interested. It would also be cool to see some genres that seem like they don't exist in the theater come back, like comedies would be cool. But it feels like that's something that's just like, hey, you want a new comedy movie? Turn on Netflix, turn on Amazon Prime.
Well, and that's how it is. Like they put so many of those comedy movies are on streaming platforms.
Do you think some of these like recent like John Cena comedies would have done well if they were a theater thing?
Dear God, no.
You don't think so? Okay.
Like his last one with Aquafina, that lottery ticket one that's on Prime.
I was thinking of the Stanicki one. Was the one I was thinking of.
No. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Ricky Stanicki was actually kind of funny, but it was like raunchy comedy, and I don't know how raunchy comedy gets away with nowadays because people just get so butthurt over everything.
Yeah, I know.
I enjoyed it, and like the whole time, like one of the you guys have seen that, right?
I have not watched.
No,
I've
I'm
seen
not
clips of it.
Okay, so there's like a 5, I don't need to say like 2-3 minute scene where he's doing karaoke, but it's him putting in masturbation jokes into his karaoke. Fantastic. I thought it was hilarious and I enjoyed it. That was probably one of the highlights, but I don't think any of his movies would be like really like
draw people in.
Perceived well to go in. Like it's the last one I really think was Blockers, when he did that one.
I thought that was okay when it came out. Yeah.
But that had like a kind of
pretty raunchy. Yeah.
It was a raunchy comedy, but the casting of it was interesting. So that's why I think people were willing to go see it. I just don't think anybody's going to go see it now because I just don't feel like I watch raunchy comedy all the time, and I just I'm watching it in the mindset like I enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just can't see people going to the theaters anymore.
Nobody today's putting out a Superbad in the theater.
If they did Superbad too, I'd be happy. But I mean, nobody's going to go watch it.
Nobody's going to do that today. I even go back to a couple years ago when they did that Jennifer Lawrence movie that was kind of a raunchy comedy.
Oh yeah,
and that was a theater jam, and it did not do well.
Yeah,
No Hard Feelings was the name of it.
No, yeah, it was good.
It was okay. I didn't dislike it or anything, but it was the kind of thing as I watched it, I'm like, yeah, this is totally a genre of movie that just doesn't really exist anymore in the theater. There's a place for it on streaming, but if that was a movie that was made 10 years ago, it would have exploded at the theater. So
number one, the fact that Jennifer Lawrence is naked in the movie should have got people to go see that movie.
Right? I thought at the time too. I was like, okay, that'll get butts and see. No,
but you definitely see her butt in that seat. But yeah, I just don't feel like those movies work anymore. And I kind of agree with Dan. I think family movies are where you're going to get your most bang for your buck, because action movies, nobody goes to see those anymore. Comedies, nobody's going to see those.
I got an idea for you. Okay, it's No Hard Feelings 2, but it's Sydney Sweeney.
Okay, hang on.
That gets people.
You know what though?
Yeah, hey, now I'm suddenly okay with this raunchy comedy you're speaking.
But she was in Madam Web, and that movie was terrible. So your logic doesn't work.
She's barely in the trailer for that movie, though.
She's barely in the movie.
Yeah, she's barely in the movie.
Well, she's in the movie a lot, but not as a spider person, so it doesn't really matter.
Isn't the one shot of her in the spider outfit like a half second in the actual movie? Yeah, it's a dream.
It's like a premonition thing. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, no, I don't think that kind of movie would get people into seats. But like, look at that other one, which I didn't watch, but I think you both did. The comedy she did with that Glenn Powell guy that made a ton of money in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that's leaning more. But that's
did.
leaning more towards the rom-com side of
But
things.
even you got to think about it. Even in rom-coms, they're still not even doing well. Like those movies, that genre movie has essentially died down too.
That movie was an anomaly where it totally did way better than anyone thought it would. So, and I think it was sold on those two people. So, but yeah, we can wrap it up on that. But yeah, I think like I said, I think that's what has to happen is the streaming bubble has to burst, and then once it does, studios will make deals to keep movies in the theater longer. So that's what I think of that. But I don't think theaters will ever die. And I do the other thing, the last thing I'll put in, we can put a pin on it, is the other thing I do find funny. If you ever go and look at like the box office numbers, a lot of movies that are doing well are shit that's been in the theater already. Like these re-releases. Like, for example, in May, I don't know if you know this, in May, they're just fucking putting The Dark Knight back in theaters.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like an IMAX version. But they put out a really cool poster that I want. But it's crazy to me. And like that'll do really well. So it's wild. But thanks for your email. As always, send your emails to podcast572@gmail.com. As far, I will say at the end of this episode, as far as the next episode goes, we probably should mention that really quick. So we are not going to have like a typical episode for the next time because we're going to be going and doing this convention. Or Dan and I are going to be going to it, but obviously the Switch 2 is a big thing that's coming out. So we're going to do kind of like a 45-minute mini-ish podcast episode that we'll put up on the feed to talk about the Switch 2 information once that happens. And that'll go up the week that podcast would normally go up. And we will also have